What's up, friends? Welcome into Rock Chalk Sports on this hump day. ESPN Kansas City and KansasNation.com. Elijah Schmidt has returned. He is running the operations here at the Kansas Nation studio. And with Dan Courtwright, I am Sean Kellerman. Thanks for joining us here. Lots to get into today. Of course, didn't have a show yesterday. We were out at KU Football Stadium, David Booth, Kansas Memorial Stadium, checking out the construction, talking to a few players over there. But we're back on our normal routine today. Appreciate you sticking with us. Also, everybody who's watching on live, Facebook Live, YouTube, appreciate you all. Hey, here in the opening segment, it's been a while since he announced it, but a couple days ago, Kohl Rosario announced that he indeed will be returning to Kansas for his sophomore season. We're going to talk about that and some other portal targets as the transfer portal season continues and Kansas looks to add to their roster. But good news indeed about Kohl returning. Next segment, we're going to be joined by Henry Greenstein, KUSports.com, LJWorld.com. We'll ask him about portal updates. Of course, KU baseball and softball. He's kind of our resident Olympic sports guest as well. He does great coverage of all those sports, KUSports.com.
Also our resident,
Californian
thesaurus.
Yes.
And Californian, resident Californian.
Yes.
All things California, all things words, all things Kansas athletics. From KUSports.com, Lawrence World.
We should see how many words he says today that we don't know the definition of. But that's great. He can just come in and say whatever he wants, and we'll just nod along.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. Well, we were talking about this. He said irascible.
Yeah.
I was like,
I had to look that up. I think it means like irritable.
Yeah,
but
he said that you were being irascible, and I was like, yeah, wait.
Transfer, just not along.
I think I agree. I don't know.
Just not along. After that, we're going to hear from a couple KU football players that we spoke to yesterday, Marcus Calvin and David Santiago. One, of course, a returning player, and Calvin didn't have a barbell in his high school.
You're kidding.
So a little bit of a different situation now, and he continues to improve here at KU. David Santiago, really impressive transfer from Michigan State.
Yeah, David Santiago, I think, is going to have a big-time year, and, he seems comfortable. He's really good with the media, too. But, again, a guy who has, relatively made an impact with the Spartans in the Big Ten and, now came over to Kansas, and, he talked about a little bit of his journey here. We asked him what the worst thing about the transfer portal was, and he just said moving. He said he drove.
Hey, that's fair.
He said he drove from East Lansing to North Carolina, and then the next day drove from North Carolina to Kansas, and he said it was just the worst.
Why did that have to happen? I'm curious.
He's from North Carolina.
Okay.
He's from North Carolina, so he went home to North Carolina with his family and got a bunch of stuff, I think, and then went back over to Kansas. So he said that was the worst thing about it. But I'm excited about – look, if you look at the defensive ends that Kansas has, right, with Leroy Harris coming off of the edge, obviously he's going to be really good. You got Alex Bray over there too. But David Santiago, it's not out of the realm of possibility that he could potentially find his way into a starting position. He is that good. Yeah,
it's not a bad position to have a lot of depth in. Kansas feels really good. Of course, last year, Dean Miller was relied upon heavily, didn't have the season that he hoped, but Leroy really came about. Leroy on one side, and how about Dak Brinkley? My goodness. We're going to hear from Blake Harold and Dak Brinkley tomorrow.
He looks different.
As soon as he walked in the room, I was like, wow, this guy has put on some muscle. John Kirby asked him, he said, what do you weigh now? Which I don't know if that's weird asking, but it's like, hey, you look different. Dak Brinkley is no longer a skinny.
Try asking that to any woman you see on the side of the road. You'll get a very different response.
Dak said he's up to 250, 255, and you can tell. So I'm imagining a world where you got Leroy on one side, Dak on the other side. You got Blake Harold in the middle, kind of roughing things up. Could be exciting for the defensive front for KU. But, we'll hear from Calvin and Santiago today. And then we have our KU Mailbag segment. You know that Colin, Cody, and Cole are going to send in their questions. Anything of particular interest today, Dan?
Elliot has a good KU one. No food stuff today for Elliot, unfortunately. We have questions about roads. We have a master's question. And then we have one interesting one from Brian. I'm going to let you kind of stew on this for a while. He said, what are the 5 best retirement reversals of all time? Reversal. I think those are great. Also, we got a Big J and Baby J question. So a lot of good stuff in the KU Mailbag. By the people, for the people. The KU Mailbag.
Good stuff. We're also going to hear from the 2-time All-American Joe Dineen, Kansas defensive ends coach. Of course, played linebacker here at KU. Really smart guy. He's only 30 years old and doing a great job here in his second season on staff.
Still
at KU.
Looks good
first
too.
As a defensive ends coach. We could close out the show talking KU baseball. They got it done again last night over Wichita State. 11 straight wins for the Hawks on the diamond. Dan Fitzgerald has got the guys cooking. It's been so much fun this season. Now they've got a road tilt and conference play coming up this weekend, but loved seeing the success last night. Continued success of KU baseball. Dan, tell me about...
I want to say first,
yes,
you have a awesome shirt on now.
Do I?
Yes. Anybody who's listening right now, either on an audio platform or ESPN Kansas City, Sean is wearing an Emporia State football shirt that I gave him.
Yeah, I'm honored.
And it looks good on you, man.
I'm honored, but really you should be honored.
I am honored.
Yes. No, I talked to Dan forever ago, and I said, do you have any old Emporia State stuff? Kind of like minor league baseball players or summer collegiate baseball players, they'll trade out shirts of like other schools that they went to. And you know what? This had not been worn yet. And I said, I'll be darned if I'm not going to break it out. Stingers up, and you have a black Jayhawk polo on today.
I do have a black Jayhawk polo on. I
was wearing one of those not too long ago.
You were, yeah. We had a meeting up in Kansas City today.
Yes.
You looked rather dapper, and then you dressed down for me. I appreciate that.
I decided to switch it up.
I have yet to wear an Emporia State article of clothing here at the Kansas Nation studios.
Man,
you might
as well be a Washburn fan.
No. I have a lot of them, though. I have like so many, and I have a lot of polos, and I have a lot of Emporia State T-shirts that I got throughout my time playing there. And, I have like my old cleats, which I actually wear one pair of cleats for slow pitch softball. But I have all my old football stuff. Like I have my old jersey, and Piper's like, can you just get rid of all this stuff? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to. Why would I get rid of this stuff? I'm not going to, it's just taking up space in my closet, and it's all collecting dust, and I never wear it. So maybe I'll start to pull out some Emporia State stuff when we're on the show.
Hey, you know what?
Why not?
I had to balance it out with the national champs Kansas shirt, but in support of my soon-to-be married friend. That's coming up, by the way. Dan and Piper have their impending nuptials. It is
you're all invited.
June something. June something. You want to give out your address or where it is?
No, it's in June. It will be in Emporia. Shout out to E-Town.
E-Town. That'll be my first time ever.
Gravel City.
Breaking bread in Emporia. Hey, this is the big news. Kohl Rosario saying the other day in a voiceover on a video that included highlights officially released KU Hoops. He said, quote, "I'm honored to have Kansas across my chest. It's something that can never be taken from me, and it's just a great feeling to know I'll be a part of this culture and history here. Basketball is my life, man. It's gotten me places I never thought I'd be able to make it. Playing in Allen Fieldhouse, just words can't describe it. It's different. Basketball is everything here. When you've got the fans behind your back, it definitely adds a little confidence. That's why I'm back." End quote. Back for more. Kohl Rosario. Hard to take anything out of that as your favorite, other than I'm honored to have Kansas across my chest, right? He says a lot of good things there, but we talked about this, I don't know, how long was this? Week and a half ago, about how if Kohl announces he's coming back, then that's going to be a nice jolt of energy. Now, Kansas needs to add other places, but still having a recognizable name, a recognizable face, and a guy who's really talented come back, that's a great start for KU.
100%, right? With a guy like Kohl Rosario, who, I have his stats pulled up, by the way. If you didn't watch a single Kansas basketball game this year, you might be thinking, why the hell is everybody getting so excited about a guy who averaged 3.4 points per game, who, averaged 11.6 minutes per game? Like, who cares, right? But we can see all the things that Kohl Rosario does on the court that doesn't necessarily get into the stat book, or whatever he does it in the short amount of time that he was on the court there towards the middle and the end of the regular season. The kid is a jolt of energy off the bench, right? And we talked about that in the St. John's game, about how he was, whatever he was, plus 10 in that game, whenever he was in the game, and Elmarco Jackson was in the minus, and all of a sudden you take out Kohl Rosario and put in Elmarco, and then you have the Dylan Darling shot over Elmarco Jackson, and that was probably, I think that the momentum shift when Kohl Rosario was in the game comparatively to when he was not in the game was a major factor in Kansas getting back into the game against St. John's. And when you look at the offensive upside, the being able to finish lobs, being able to finish in transition, the defensive upside where he's able to steal the balls and play solid defense, and he can switch a little bit, probably maybe 1 through 4, he can stretch a 1 through 4. He can go 1 through 3 if he wants to. And then, the offensive rebounding ability of Kohl Rosario, I think, is massive as well. I think when you look at Kohl Rosario and what he's able to do, and some of the largest, the biggest plays that he had made throughout the season were offensive rebounds, which aren't the sexiest of plays, right? He's finishing dunks, he's finishing lobs, but the offensive rebounding aspect of it, him being able to jump out of the gym is just tremendous.
Yeah, it is. And like you talked about, if there was any positive from the St. John's game, it was the run that Kansas went on late.
Yeah.
And the big negative was when Kohl Rosario got removed from the game and Elmarco Jackson came in, gave the straight line drive that essentially lost the game for Kansas. And Flory Badunga didn't jump. Kansas
Flory Badunga was out on the perimeter. I don't want to relive it, but
got in there, didn't jump, and Kansas had issues on that front. But Rosario coming back is a great start for KU. And again, it all started with his good play against St. John's. And no, he's not a perfect player, but whether it was against St. John's or any game previously in the season, you can see he attacks the offensive glass. He's active. He's not going to disappear out there.
Right.
Do you remember the Sandlot reference that I gave probably 2 months ago on the show in the middle of the season?
I don't.
It was Scotty Small's mom told Scotty, go out there, climb trees, jump fences, get into trouble, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Do something. I said, that's Kohl Rosario out there. Like, no, he's not going to hit every shot. Hopefully he becomes a really good shooter for Kansas. But if he's out there, he's going to foul somebody.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to be a presence in some way. He's going to hit the deck. He's going to try to get his hands on loose balls, all that sort of thing. So a really talented player, but also one who's going to give his all. And again, you feel really good about everything he said, playing at Allen Fieldhouse, how basketball is everything here. He's proud to wear Kansas across his chest.
And I think he's going against the grain, right? And I talked about this maybe last week about how Kohl Rosario was the perfect encapsulation of a guy who should have transferred, right? And that's just because of what we see. A guy who started the first few games of the season, was playing a lot of minutes, all of a sudden wasn't up to the talent level, I think, quite yet, or at least the disciplinary level or the fundamental level that you needed to be in order to be a starter for the Kansas Jayhawks. And we saw his minutes start to decrease. And then I talked about in the middle of the season, he was in 7-minute purgatory. And then towards the end of the season, he wasn't playing at all, right? When you look at a guy like that who starts off the season as a starter, as a solidified guy, and then just completely doesn't play towards the end of the season, 99 times out of 100, I'll say 9,999 times out of 10,000.
Wait.
900. Wait, what did I say?
Wait. That sounds right. Yeah.
Okay.
I think you got that.
Yeah.
Wait, are you trying to leave just one?
I'm trying to leave just one.
Okay.
Yeah. Did I do the math right? Let me hold on. I gotta use my fingers.
If you're trying to leave just one,
anyway,
I think that checks out. Yeah.
I think that's right.
It seems like the point you were trying to make was you were trying to leave just one.
They will leave. Yeah. Majority of the time, they will leave. But Kohl Rosario strikes me as the kind of person, and we've heard this from other sources as well, is like he wants to be able to prove his worth to Bill Self, and he wants to run it back, and he's got that fire, that competitive fire underneath him to be like, look, I know last year didn't go as planned. I'm not just going to run away from it. I'm going to come back. I'm going to run it back, and I'm going to continue to try to work it out and become a great Jayhawk.
So that's step one for Kansas. They've got an entire roster to fill, and we know that. And we'll talk to Greeny about this next segment, some other guys. Greenstein, he knows all about Masamba Diop. He knows all about Mustafa Sham, and he knows pretty much everything there is to know about the transfer portal. But guys are starting to commit at this point, and we know that some of the top names have already committed, names that we've mentioned on this show before. David Punch going to Texas, Isaiah Johnson going to Texas. Houston got Dineen Thomas Jr. from LSU. Somto Cyril goes to Miami. While there is still plenty of time for guys to enter the portal and even more time for guys to commit other places, some of the top names are going off the board right now. I think Kansas is still waiting on Tyron Stokes as well. There are a few guys that I know Kansas fans are interested in. I don't know where the coaching staff is on this front, but I've mentioned multiple times Paul McNeil, the sharpshooter out of NC State, who was only a sophomore. Cruz Davis is a top-tier talent. He's a top 30 guy on 24/7 Sports. A lot of schools have contacted him. He's a guard out of Hofstra who can score at all three levels. And we've talked about Jake Hall. We've talked about some other guys, a couple of Utah players as well, Terrence Brown and Keanu Dawes. So there's a lot of names still out there. I think that people are starting to get a little bit antsy, though, waiting for the next move.
Yeah, I agree. And, Kansas has had guys on campus. It's not like the coaches are like on vacation right now, right? They're continuing to try to get guys on campus. They're getting guys on campus. They're talking with agents. They're working out deals, all this different kind of stuff. Deshaun Good, he actually had his visit on Monday. Right now, though, today he is at St. John's, so that's something to look out for. He's the Robert Morris wing. He's 6'8", really nice player. Keanu Dawes, like you said, that's a guy maybe to keep an eye on. Also, I don't know. I had this thought, though, that if you get Keanu Dawes and Terrence Brown, it's like, okay, well, you're just picking off.
You don't want to be Utah.
Right, that's the thing. It's like, you don't want to have Utah. I mean, Utah was the worst team in the Big 12 last year. And it's like, yeah, they were really good. And Terrence Brown averaged almost 20 points per game. Keanu Dawes is a nice player. But, at the same time, I don't know. Maybe it's just the name bias of them playing at Utah. And you get 2 Utah players. It's like, okay, well, what do they do last year, right? So that's besides the point. I do like them as players. I think they're really good. Word on the street, Anton Bonk is another really nice player from, where is he from? Vanuatu.
Oh, yeah. Greenstein probably knows. I don't know. Is that how you pronounce it?
Henry and I had an extensive conversation about it. He apparently was a rower. In Vanuatu back in the day. So nice coordination. I watched a little bit of film on him. For a 7'2" guy, he's kind of got a good-looking shot. Like a lot of those 7'2" guys, you see him out on the arc, and their shots all janky, and their elbows out or whatever. He's kind of got a pretty shot. A lot of the things that he does, I think in terms of coordination of a 7'2" guy, I think are there. Like I think he is a relatively good player, and it certainly shows in the stat book. So that's going to be a guy maybe to look out for. Obviously, we've heard a lot about ties to him. Terrence Hill apparently was in town. I had heard that they're like KU fans staking out the 23rd Street Brewery, and they apparently saw him leaving the 23rd Street Brewery or whatever.
That's a big name, man. He seems like a Bill Self guard.
That's the thing. It's like that's the guy that I'm highest on right now that Wes Enos wound up committing to Creighton, unfortunately.
Are you still high on Trayson Eaglestaff?
I'm very high.
Even though he's out of eligibility and only averaged 9 points a game at West Virginia?
Super high on him.
Okay, yeah, big Trayson Eaglestaff. You know what?
Guy. We'll hire a lawyer and see if we can get another year of eligibility for him to get here to Kansas. I was high on him. I'll tell you this right now. I'm gonna watch Creighton games next year, and I'm gonna see Wes Enos, and whenever he is averaging 18 points a game, I'm going to text you right away and be like, hey, look at this guy. He's a rise and fire guy. That's what you needed. That's exactly what you needed.
You were high on Enos. You were high on Dix last year.
I was.
Josh Dix. That didn't work out in Creighton either. Terrence Hill Jr. and Paul McNeil, that would be kind of a fun backcourt, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
who knows? But you got a playmaking guard, and then you got a 3-ball guard. Again, waiting on Tyron Stokes as well, but a lot to get into.
So that's the thing. Tyron Stokes apparently took a visit to Kentucky over this weekend, and maybe I'm reading into it. I know a lot of other people are. Potentially good news that he didn't commit, right? He went to Kentucky. Right now, the only 2 teams that are in contention for Tyron Stokes are Kentucky and Kansas. Allegedly. He went to Kentucky and spent the entire weekend there, left without committing. So that, to me, tells you, because that was their one last Hail Mary throw. Let's get him on campus. Let's throw all the money at him. Let's take him out and party. Let's do whatever.
I just think Mark Pope's kind of a goon.
Of course he is.
I don't know. But
I don't know how they did.
There have been times in the past where guys have taken visits and then not committed then.
You know my disdain for John Calipari. I think he's a bad coach. I think he's a really good recruiter. John Calipari would have had that locked up.
What? Come on, keep the faith.
You don't think so? No, I'm saying for Kentucky.
Pope.
No, I'm not.
I know.
No, I'm saying John Calipari would have had that locked up a while ago. So this has something to do maybe with Mark Pope. I don't know if he. And again, we've heard a lot of different things about how he doesn't want to be in Kentucky and all these different things. I understand Nike's throwing a lot of money at him, and money says everything. And apparently he sold his McDonald's All-American shoes and was like, "Oh, I don't like Adidas or whatever." Sure, fine, whatever. But also. He spent the weekend in Kentucky and has not committed to Kentucky. That was their one last chance to get him on campus and put it into words or put it on paper that I'm coming here, and he didn't. So that is good news for me.
Of course, that's your opinion. We have to wait and see. This is an opinion talk show, so I'm good with that.
It's Nick Springer's favorite game is reckless speculation.
Nick Springer is the only person in the world, I was thinking about this on my way in today, he's the only person in the world who loves Paul and Bia almost as much as I do, because I've been high on this guy for a long time.
He's the president of the Paul and Bia fan club. Are you not in?
I'm the owner.
He probably didn't.
The owner, I think. We're going with that.
Is he going to get back to you?
Hey, we're going to be joined by the California Kid after this. Henry Greenstein, KUSports.com, LJWorld.com. We'll be here in studio. Thanks for watching KansasNation.com and listening to ESPN Kansas City.
Hey, Kansas fans, Coach Bill Self here, and you're watching KansasNation.com.
This is SSJ. Winter in Kansas City doesn't mean your lawn takes a break. It means smart homeowners get a head start. Let David and his crew from Custom Lawn and Landscape prepare your yard for a greener, healthier spring with winter fertilization, soil conditioning, and pre-emergent treatments that stop weeds before they start. Because when the snow melts, you don't want to start fixing your lawn. You want to already be winning. Trust Custom Lawn and Landscape, treating your yard now so it looks incredible later. Visit CustomLawn.com to schedule your winter services today.
Together, we're elevating our potential, our pride, our traditions, and our dreams. Together, we're opening up a whole new world of possibilities. Elevate your University of Kansas experience with Jayhawk checking from Central Bank. Central Bank and KU, elevating together.
Listen up, guys. Summer is coming, and there's no better time than right now to ignite your health and feel your best. Whether you're chasing peak performance, trying to reignite intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health Lawrence is your calling. Situated in a plush man cave setting, their services for testosterone replacement therapy, ED, vitamin therapy, and weight loss are sure to give you the boost you need. Make an online appointment today by searching for Game Day Men's Health Lawrence. Step up your game in 2026 with Game Day.
Jayhawk fans, if you haven't started to follow Kansas Nation on social, now is the time. Facebook, Instagram, X, it's Kansas Nation, and online at KansasNation.com for the latest news and information on your Kansas Jayhawks. Interviews, news conferences, daily and weekly shows, podcasts. Find it all at Kansas Nation and KansasNation.com.
Want to shout out Miles Schnare and his team over at Crown Automotive. If you need a new vehicle, if you're looking for a used vehicle, they can help you out on South Iowa in Lawrence. Miles Schnare, Dan, the Lawrence Citizen of the Year.
Yeah.
Shout him out right now.
I will shout him out right now. Miles Schnare, the Lawrence Citizen of the Year.
This is brand new information.
That's my Sean
No,
Kellerman impression.
they've got a great selection of new and used vehicles, as I mentioned. If you're looking for a Camry, a Tundra, a RAV4, whatever you're looking for, check them out on South Iowa in Lawrence or crownautomotive.com. We're going to be joined now in the flesh by Henry Greenstein, KUSports.com, and the Lawrence Journal World. Henry, a lot to get into. Thanks again for coming over today. Hey, vibes are up. Kohl Rosario is coming back, man. We've been talking about how it would be great to have somebody come back from last year's team, and who knows what's going to happen with Paul and Bia, but we saw a lot from Kohl in the St. John's game, kind of a microcosm of his game and the toughness type player that Coach Self likes, and it'll be good having him back in Crimson and Blue.
Absolutely. I thought it was funny the other day that news comes out with Goodman reporting Kohl Rosario is expected to come back. It's like, well, I was already expecting him to come back.
Right.
He hasn't entered the transfer portal.
Yeah, right.
So,
Yeah.
But no, I guess you can never be too careful in this day and age. And I mean, there's so many reasons to like retaining Kohl.
Yeah.
First of all, as you guys were saying earlier, he never looks disengaged. He is always locked in. He's always finding some way to contribute. I understand there were games this year where he didn't touch the ball a lot on offense, but he was like 1 inch away from every rebound. And to do that as a guy who isn't particularly big is pretty impressive. I think that's a great starting point, and it will be a good way to ingratiate himself to Bill Self, because if you've already demonstrated that you're willing to put in that much effort and rebound and defend, like, that will get you in the rotation. So regardless of who else KU adds this offseason, and we know they have to add many, many more players at this juncture, having Kohl is a really good starting point. Also just like great personality to have in the locker room, good ambassador for the program, as you guys have said previously. And so that's a good piece of foundation. I do think if I were Corbin Allen, I would be a little sad that all these people are saying Kohl is the
Right.
only
Yeah, right.
returning player or whatever.
Cornell's like, well, what the hell?
I saw a tweet from the Overtime Elite account today that described him as the only player, and I almost quote tweeted, and I was like, what about Corbin?
Yeah,
you know?
right.
And of course, we're all waiting to hear a definitive bit of news on Paul, who, by all accounts, he reportedly was going to enter the portal and has not actually gone into it. But then, of course, there's still like 6 days left in the window, so
Yeah.
I don't think anyone will feel too certain about that. Also, this morning, I got a message from his agency that I had asked 8 days ago to confirm that he was going to enter the portal, and they said yes. So
Today?
today they said yes.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
So I don't know what to make of that. Maybe they were just like, yes, at that moment he was going to.
Interesting.
Maybe they just forgot to hit send.
Yeah.
That's true.
I've
They
done that before.
Type in yes 8 days ago,
Yeah.
and then wait 8 days to send it.
I've done that before where it's
What
like,
have you guys done more often, though? Have you forgotten to hit send, or have you lied about forgetting to hit send?
I'm right down the middle, 50-50.
Yeah,
I lie about
I'm
it a
like
lot.
1090.
I don't do either very often, but there are some times where I've been like, oh, I forgot to send this earlier, when actually I was very calculated in sending it at the
Okay.
exact moment that I did.
I just forgot.
But just to be clear, I'm not, by saying that thing about the agency, I'm not trying to make any suggestions one way or the other. I just thought it was funny that, like,
right.
you know, now that the tide has gone all the way over to people thinking he's going to return, now they respond to my message
Right.
asking them to confirm that he
Interesting.
was going. So
Okay.
Well, I don't like that news.
Yeah.
don't interpret
being
it.
completely
Don't interpret
frank.
it as a piece of news. All they said was yes.
Oh, that's dumb.
I need him to ingratiate himself back in the program.
I like to overreact to information like that. So, fair enough. Henry, wanted to continue to talk about the transfer portal because, as of right now, there's a lot of guys, and Kansas has had a number of different guys on campus. I guess if you put yourself in the shoes of a Kansas fan,
Adidas or Nike?
Adidas shoes.
Okay.
Put yourself in the Adidas shoes of a Kansas fan. Take off your Arizona State fan shoes and put yourself in a Kansas fan shoes. What's the concern level right now? Is it just the fact, because usually you would think that, hey, you get these guys on campus, like they just fall in love with it immediately, and you know you're hoping to maybe get some guys commit like that day or maybe like the day after whenever they go somewhere. But also with guys like Anton Bonk, we were talking about this off air, like he has a Kansas visit scheduled, then he also has like 8 other visits scheduled. So what's the concern level right now in terms of Kansas being a little bit slow to start in the transfer portal?
Well, if I'm a fan, I'm probably panicked, but that's because fans panic about everything.
Of course.
Me, I think people need to settle down.
Okay.
I understand. I think it's okay for people to be a little annoyed. Like, we've gotten some kids on campus. How come they've been able to go on to other visits? Like, you know, Goods at St. John's right now.
Right.
But on the other hand, I think we can all agree KU did a pretty good job last year in the portal. Like, they got 3 guys, essentially, and 2 of them played vastly better than anticipated. The other one was worse than anticipated. That's pretty good. And that was another waiting game. I think the Jaden Dawson one was around this time last year, maybe like the Friday of this week last year, and that came out of nowhere. That's the other thing, is like there could be someone that we haven't even heard their name yet that suddenly goes to KU. But I would urge people to just settle down and wait for things to take shape. You know, KU's been linked to a lot of highly productive players. At least in this cycle, fans aren't like super mad about the types of players that KU is targeting. Like, there haven't been that many so far where people are like, I don't want him to play for Kansas. Like, for the most part, they've been pretty agreeable choices. It seems like they have a couple positions of need they're trying to get to. I think from a personal standpoint, it would be good to see KU get involved with some other centers, just because I feel like Bonk's the only real center name that they have in the mix right now. That, you know, there's been rumors about Eric Ryba, but I haven't heard much substantive stuff relating to that. And also, but anyway, I think they could get involved with a couple more names there, but they've got a good selection of guards and a good selection of wings and fours they're going after. I think some of them will pan out. We shall see.
Talking to Henry Greenstein right now, KUSports.com, LJWorld.com. Are talks continuing, or I guess that's maybe not the best way to put it. In your opinion, is Kansas still in the game for Mustafa Sham, the big out of Cincinnati? And would you like a trio of Terrence Hill Jr. and Paul McNeil and Mustafa Sham? Because that's what I'm looking at right now. I'm like, bam, you got your right. You've got your point guard who can attack the basket. You got a shooter. And it doesn't have to be those guys, but it's kind of tough building a roster when you don't know on Tyron Stokes. And I don't know if you want to speak to Shoegate at all, but there are definitely some names out there. Really,
is that what we're calling it?
Sean's calling
really
it.
talented players that are still out there, but it seems like a lot's kind of riding on an incoming freshman who's going to be asking for a lot of money.
Yeah. I think that, unfortunately, this is the situation that they're in. Like, there really isn't much to be done about it. You can have insurance policies. Like, you can have kind of you can go after a borderline starting level wing and make him your starter if you don't get Stokes, and have him come off the bench if you do. Somehow I doubt that will placate that player and his agent not having a certain role like that. But yeah, I mean, when you're going after the number one player in the country, and the number one player is someone with the personality and maybe fickle nature of Tyron Stokes, this is something that you have to contend with. I mean, if you guys read what was written on KSR after the Kentucky visit, things seem to be looking up for KU. In the wake of that visit, it wasn't like the amazing sell job that I think a lot of Kentucky fans envisioned. So things, I guess, are trending up for KU in that direction. Of course, there are many people you can talk to in recruiting circles who have always felt that KU was the leader. But, the longer it goes on, the less certainty there is. And I don't blame anyone for being anxious about it. But you can't really invest a huge amount of money in that position, knowing that you still have to have a huge chunk around for the possibility that you do get Stokes. Sean, I feel like you asked something else as part of your question.
Mustafa? Yeah.
Yeah, Cham. Well, I thought I was making contact with a great point of contact in that recruitment, but he didn't respond. And then someone told me, yeah, that guy doesn't really respond to anything. So
awesome.
Personally, I have little information to offer on the Cham front. I saw he was at St. John's too. St. John's connected with everyone, apparently.
Yeah, but have they gotten anybody? It's been weird. I don't think anybody's.
I don't think they've gotten a commitment yet, but they've been in on everybody.
Yeah.
I have to check on that, but obviously KU fans would be overjoyed to have Cham, because KU fans love going up against people who did well against KU.
Yeah.
That's like one of their favorite things. You could see that same phenomenon with Keanu Dawes. Even though I do think Keanu Dawes is a very good player, but a lot of people are like, he had 22 and 12 and he made 2 of 3 threes against.
Good.
Yeah. No,
we said that immediately when we saw Isaiah Johnson for Colorado. We're like, that gotta be nice to be on the Jayhawks. Like, that's.
Yeah. But then Isaiah Johnson and David Punch on Texas.
I know, yeah.
I think a lot of KU fans might be looking enviously at that duo, especially with some of the returning talent they've got, and if they can get Swain there too, Dalen Swain. But anyway, yeah, as for Cham, like, eminently a great fit, obviously a player who'd be wonderful to have. I think the elephant in the room is, do you have to hire Mamadou Ndiaye onto your team, as the last 2 teams did, in order to obtain him?
Right.
Or I guess I should say it more delicately, happened to hire the same year that they also acquired Cham from the portal.
It's just a coincidence.
Yeah. I did think it was funny, though. UCF was listed as one of the teams that's expressed interest in Cham in the portal, which is funny. Just imagining the idea that he could go back there. But
little Ronnie Chalmers, remember him? He was an assistant coach for 3 years.
Yeah, Mario's dad.
But anyway, that's a very opaque recruitment. Like, I wouldn't expect a lot of information to come out about that one.
Say opaque?
Yeah.
Okay, look that up. Okay.
You don't know the word opaque?
I think I've heard it before.
Okay, just keep
Could
going.
I define it?
Just keep going.
Anyway, I do have one more question about Stokes, and this relates to kind of what happened last year. If Stokes commits to Kansas, do you think that that's going to be a major pitch? Like, do you see more guys in the portal wanting to come play for Kansas just because they want to play with Tyron Stokes? I think we saw that last year with, like, Melvin loved the idea. Now, granted, Melvin came from St. Bonaventure and, wasn't, like, super highly recruited, but they're like, hey, I want to play with Darren Peterson. Like, do you see that same thing happening if Kansas were to land Stokes?
Absolutely. For a variety of reasons. First of all, I know people say a lot of things about Stokes, but he's got good vision. He's a good passer. He makes his teammates better. Absolutely. There's no question about it. And then also, this is something Jaden Dawson said last offseason, like, if you're on the team with the number one guy, NBA scouts are watching all your games.
True.
And other professional scouts too. And so setting aside anything about Tyron himself, the mere fact of having a guy who's the number one prospect on your team just results in so much more exposure and so many more, and combined with the fact of being at Kansas, like so much more exposure and so many more opportunities to impress yourself or impress scouts and make an impression on a national stage. So absolutely, I mean, it's possible already that KU could be saying that in recruitment if they feel confident about where they are with Stokes, but having him in the fold would obviously make it a significantly more convincing pitch to recruits.
Yeah, it also would make the roster a little bit clearer for fans, fanatics who are trying to figure out who's going to be on the team. But we'll have to wait and see. Stokes and Mbia obviously are at the top of the list of what's going to happen for KU from guys we think we're going to get, but then a lot of other pieces in the portal as well. Henry, Kansas women's basketball, tell us about a new local talent that they got in the portal.
Yeah, this has been really just like the core tenet of KU women's basketball's portal strategy the last few years, and it's worked pretty well for them. Like bringing in, it feels like almost every transfer they've gotten has been someone from the Kansas City area.
Yeah.
It's fortunate for them that it produces so many good players. And Mariah Noel, who was at Xavier, is one of those. She averaged, I want to say, 14.6 points and 6.3.
14.9 and 6.3.
Okay, I got the rebounds at least.
And one steal per game.
Last year with the Musketeers. Are they the Musketeers for women's basketball too, or are they the Lady Musketeers?
I believe
I don't think about Xavier very much.
The Xavier Musketeers women's basketball
team. Okay, so they're just the Musketeers.
There you go.
Maybe that doesn't reflect well on
Musketeer is an asexual term. Asexual? Is that right?
Sure. So the wing was a...
Did I not use that right? I don't know.
I think I would have gone with agender or genderless.
Okay. Genderless.
Or
it's a genderless word.
Unisex.
Yeah, unisex is the word. That was what I was looking for.
I'm going to sit out the rest of this segment.
Okay.
But the wing was a place where the wing, you would argue, was like the primary need for them in the portal. And the way that KU women's basketball has acted, they have generally not gone with a scattershot approach where you bring in 1 million people in the transfer portal. This is probably for rev share and NIL reasons too, but like they tend to focus on a small amount of key targets. I have a feeling it's going to be much the same thing this offseason. And, you know, by all accounts, they're returning a lot of players. You lose Parks at Knessa, but retaining Samaya Nichols and Julia Davis after a season in which they did not make the tournament is a massive victory.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And combining those two with Noel, as well as the returning experience you have in the post, is really, really promising for next season, I would say. We'll see what else they choose to do. Obviously, they could use a little bit more depth in some areas with some of the players who graduated, so I doubt they're done. But you know, Noel, who also started a career at Ole Miss, like a proven power conference player and a great addition for that team.
100%. Henry Greenstein, KSports.com, and the Lawrence Journal World. Henry wanted to flip it over to football. Spring is, going to be coming to a close relatively soon. It's one of my favorite times of year, spring football. We've asked you a lot about, like guys who have surprised you, guys who have, caught your eye, maybe people who are ahead of pace. I want to ask you, I'm going to flip the question.
You're going to ask me about things I'm concerned about?
Bingo. I want to ask you, is there maybe
how did you know what he meant?
Yeah. Is there anywhere that you think just still has question marks, I guess, like of obviously the secondary is banged up and different things like that. So we're not really able to see them, and hopefully they're not banged up in the fall, but maybe just some areas of Kansas football that you have more questions than answers for?
Yeah, I mean, you brought up the secondary. My mind immediately goes to the safety position. And it's not just because of people being banged up. Like, they also have a lot of possibilities there, and it's not totally clear to me, like, which players are ahead of the group, I guess. You feel like Taylor Davis is probably going to be a starter, but then they also have Jaden Harris, who was at Georgia and Miami, to push him. I understand he wasn't the best player on those defenses, but he's been in high-level programs and had good moments. That's someone who's certainly going to be in the conversation. But it's been tough to ascertain what that looks like with players like Mason Ellis and Kaijon Cummings-Coleman, like not being fully available during the spring. We also, we'll talk to the defensive backs later this week as well as Brandon Shelby, and we'll maybe get a little bit of a clearer picture. But I think that's one where a lot of the discussions will have to be tabled until mid-fall camp to really get a sense of what that looks like. And obviously there's going to be a lot of scrutiny on both that and the cornerback position, because you could argue those were some of the biggest weak points for KU last year, if not like the single biggest weak point was just defending the pass at the back end. A lot of young players who learned the hard way on a lot of reps. You figure that experience has done them some good, and that players like Todd and Alexander and Saeed Gibbs and Jaleel Hurley will all be better this season. But then, like, since now I'm talking about cornerbacks, like how does Roman Pearson figure in? Just a lot of questions back there. So that's kind of the first place my mind goes. Defensive tackle, some guys banged up too. That came up a little bit the other day.
Yeah.
We'll learn more about that later on, I think. Defensive end seems good. Linebacker, I feel better about. I know we were reversing, but I feel better about linebacker than I did coming in. And then on the offense, I think offensive line, whichever combination they pick, it'll probably end up being pretty good. Wide receiver, you kind of know what you got. It's really more about whether those top 4 players can be highly productive. Tight end, we've already talked about on the show, so I'll spare the details. But I think that's a question mark too in terms of how the snaps are divided up. I kind of feel pretty confident Carson Bruin will be the number 1 guy, but I'm not sure exactly what it means to be the number 1 tight end in offense where they use this many. Running back, we sort of know who's going to play, pending Jalen Dupree's like reincorporation, and then quarterback. What else is there to say?
Yeah, right.
So secondary is where my mind goes right now in terms of biggest concerns or questions.
It's kind of like the quarterback situation, like hurry up and wait situation.
Yeah,
you know what
that's
I mean?
what it feels like.
It's certainly what it
hurry
feels
up and wait.
like.
That's good.
Offensive line, we haven't talked about that near as much because that was a big story heading into last year. But it would be fair to have it be a question mark. I mean, you're losing Bryce Foster, you're losing some talented guys up there, Enrique Cruz as well. So some battles to be won on that front also. And then defensive line, you mentioned it. The thing we hope for most is health. And, we haven't been able to see everybody out there. We'll wait and see what the situation is after spring ball, perhaps into the summer, on the health of some of those guys. KU invested a lot in a couple particular individuals up front defensively, as has kind of been a blueprint set by Texas Tech and some other teams that have had success. So we'll wait and see on that front. Henry, got to ask you about KU baseball. They get it done again. You got Tyson LeBlanc hitting 2 more homers last night. You get Bodie Ray, another great performance. This time it's out of the bullpen, getting a save. KU beats Wichita State 5-2, 11 straight games, and nice seeing them not really have any sort of, fallback after being ranked. Now they're in the top 20 D1 Baseball America.
Yeah, it was absolutely a letdown spot. A place where they could very easily. Midweek baseball is completely ridiculous.
Oh my God!
I don't know if you guys.
You got 5.5 hours to spend over at a ballpark.
I don't know if you guys saw some of the results yesterday, but Bethune-Cookman beat Florida
13-7.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
K-State lost to Omaha 12-5 yesterday. Those K-State fans are going through it right now.
Yeah, oh my goodness, yeah.
But, KU could easily have had a letdown, and obviously it wasn't their greatest offensive performance, but a sleepy midweek game where sleepy means none of your relievers allow any runs is pretty good for the Jayhawks. Madden Seidel, you can see him growing with each successive appearance, by the way. He was a little shaky when they had him as a Sunday starter at the very beginning, but he's been really good out of the bullpen, along with Mason Cook, by the way. Not that he pitched yesterday, but... And then they're starting to get into a little bit of a rhythm here with Scheidt and Ritter and Ray at the back end of the bullpen. It's looking pretty good, and they'll need those guys to close out what will undoubtedly be some close matchups coming up. To me, it's these next couple weeks that will really be the test of how legitimate KU is, because they've been really good at home so far, haven't lost a Big 12 game at home. Weirdly, they lost non-conference games to vastly worse teams at home, but haven't lost a Big 12 game at home. Now you're going up against some hungry teams in their home venues in Oklahoma State and Kansas State coming up that are, looking to claw their way either back into the postseason picture. KU has to understand just how meaningful every game is when it's at the top of the Big 12. They have a chance to do something that hasn't been done really, and they have a 2-game lead in the conference, but there's so much time left in the season. I was looking at the calendar yesterday when I was looking at bracketology. It's still 6 weeks until regionals.
Man.
A lot can happen. And so they've got to continue. One of our favorite. They've got to continue to take it one game at a time.
One game at a time.
One game at a time.
As Tyson LeBlanc would tell you.
Did you come up with that? Write that down. That's really good. KU baseball right now, man. They're projected to host.
It's the worst when you take sports 2 or 3 games at a time. Like, I hate when people do that.
Yeah, people are always adding the results of games together.
Yeah.
And saying that KU won.
It's like, no, one game is one game. It's not 2, 3, 4, 5 games at a time.
Of course.
Frequent problem.
You got to take it one game at a time, guys.
That makes sense. I guess that's why they schedule one game.
Right. Speaking of one game, Kansas softball, they take on Mizzou in a one-game showdown here in Lawrence. I know you're going to be going over there at Arocha Ballpark.
I will.
They've been on a little bit of a run now. They just took a series against Baylor. Give us a preview of this KU Mizzou Storage Mart. I almost said Dylan Sunflower Showdown. It's the Storage Mart Border War.
No sunflowers for the Tigers.
Give us a preview of it. Haley Kripe's been playing great. Ella Boyer just been incredible.
Man, that was a weird series last weekend. they blew one in the 7th, which honestly was giving me flashbacks to last year's KU softball team, where every game was decided in the 7th and usually unfavorably. They blew one in the 7th, but turned around the same day and then proceeded to win a game 1-0. I don't remember the last time I saw that happen for a KU softball team.
It's unlike most college softball. College softball games are so much fun to watch because it feels like every score is like 13-14.
Yeah, but
1-0 is crazy.
Props to Blakely Barber. That was her first career complete game, and she pitched a shutout.
It's awesome.
And the freshman pitchers, this has been kind of an understated storyline in part because dummies like me are hyping up Ella Boyer so much, but the freshman pitchers have been really good for KU, especially Blakely Barber and Lila Partridge. I don't know that KU necessarily knew how much either of them would pitch this season. I think coming in, McFalls and her staff were like, well, we'll see how it goes. Well, they've become 2 of the best arms on the entire team, and that was evident in the series because the third game, Partridge had a lot to do with kind of holding that one close. And they end up winning on kind of a ridiculous walk-off where the ball drops in front of the right fielder. She's trying to make – it was kind of like KU baseball in the Big 12 tournament last year against Oklahoma State. Remember that one? Kazuski pop-up.
Yeah.
It was like that, but September Flanagan wins it. So all 3 games in that series decide by 1 run. And I don't know that this is being talked about enough. They've won every Big 12 series this year.
Yeah, it's massive.
They have taken 2 out of 3. And I don't think any of them, by the way, they've won the first 2 and then lost the third. So they've played rubber matches in every series and won all of them. It's been an incredibly impressive showing. Best season of McFall's career. Now the question is, can they keep doing enough to get into the tournament, which they have not done under McFalls, and which would be a huge milestone for that program, especially considering how many young players are contributing to it. But we shall see. And, Mizzou, KU's had some success against them in recent years, but that's been a good program. I think they had a ranked win over the weekend, although I don't think they ended up taking the series against Georgia. So we'll see what happens tonight. Should be a good one. Yeah,
it's really cool that both KU baseball and softball are in the top 25. I mean, I don't think anybody would have predicted that coming into the season. And honestly, if we're being completely, before Coach Fitz got here, and this is, I believe, Coach McFall's 8th year at Kansas, there hasn't been success at the Big 12 level like there potentially could be this season. So it's different than it has been. And like I said, being in the top 25 is a good showing of how that's true. Henry, appreciate your time as always, man. We'll let you get out of here. We covered a lot of things today, but tell us a little bit about what you got on tap, kusports.com, ljworld.com.
Yeah, well, I will do my best to keep everyone updated on what is going on with the portal. It is an ever-changing world, as everyone knows. We were first on the Terrence Brown visit, so I did that.
Nice.
A lot of other people won't respond to me, but I was first on the visit. So lots of portal coverage. Then in between that, everything else you could hope for. We're keeping track of those Diamond Sports. We've got more spring football coverage than you can find anywhere else. So I hope you all enjoy that and subscribe and read my stuff.
One more thing before I let you go. I noticed that you do have a beard growing right now. Have you not used the razor and shaving cream that Lance Leipold presented to you?
I have not used it yet. I'm more of an electric razor guy.
Okay, fair enough.
I do have, for better or worse, I do have that in my house.
Okay.
So I didn't get rid of it. But
Fair enough.
Have you framed it yet?
I have not.
For anybody who doesn't, nobody knows this. I mean, it wasn't like reported anywhere. It's not news, but
Breaking
news. Breaking news. Lance Leipold gives Henry Greenstein a razor and shaving cream. No, it was after a press conference. Lance said you had a little beard going
he was
on.
making fun of me.
Yeah,
That's okay.
You said it was laziness, and he said that's quite the choice. He said, well, it's just laziness.
I said it was laziness, not a choice, and he said, well, laziness is a choice.
Yeah, great coach answer, by the way.
Great coach answer.
Lance comes back. He came back like 5 minutes later and gave you a razor and some shaving cream. So that was nice. He's being chipper with the media. So
it was
great.
a bit. You don't see coaches do bits very often.
I'm a fan of it, man.
Yeah,
it was great.
A Lance bit. You don't see that too often either. We do like the beard, though.
I like it.
Got to put that out there.
I think I'm a fan of beards.
We'll let you get out of
It's
here.
An older
but
generation thing.
First, we're going to tell everybody listening and viewing about Central Bank. Central Bank has Jayhawk checking. Jayhawk fans can carry their pride with them wherever they go with the official Jayhawk debit card, a simple way to show school spirit every day. Central Bank is proud to support the traditions and communities that bring people together. And as the proud community banking partner of the University of Kansas, Central Bank is committed to serving Jayhawk fans with banking options designed for real life, on campus, at work, and everywhere in between. Learn more about Jayhawk checking and the exclusive debit card at jayhawkchecking.com. That's jayhawkchecking.com. Central Bank, the proud community banking partner of the University of Kansas, member FDIC. Henry Greenstein, check him out, kusports.com, ljworld.com. More coming up, ESPN Kansas City, kansasnation.com.
Together, we're elevating our potential, our pride, our traditions, and our dreams. Together, we're opening up a whole new world of possibilities. Elevate your University of Kansas experience with Jayhawk checking from Central Bank. Central Bank and KU, elevating together.
APR plus $1,000 customer bonus, or get 0.9% APR on a 2026 Tiguan. Luxury just got a new definition.
Haney and the Hawks is presented by Jefferson's with 2 Lawrence locations, home of the best wings in town. 21 signature sauces. You got to check them out. But if wings aren't your thing, how about a burger? They hand patty their certified Angus beef every single day. Also hand bread their tenders. They make their ranch in-house. There is truly something for everybody at Jefferson's. Go see my buddy Brandon Graham and the entire crew at Jefferson's, either on Mass or Wakarusa in Lawrence, Kansas.
Hi there, Gary Joslin with Joslin's Jewelry. I'm not the class ring company. I'm a mom and pop jewelry store for 42 years. We were recently voted the gold medal #1 jewelry store in the greater Kansas City area by Ingram's Magazine. Come see us at Joslin's Jewelry, 9529 Antioch. Joslin's Jewelry, the jeweler you'll recommend to your friends and family.
Joslin's Jewelry, for the best that's yet to come.
This is SSJ. Winter in Kansas City doesn't mean your lawn takes a break. It means smart homeowners get a head start. Let David and his crew from Custom Lawn and Landscape prepare your yard for a greener, healthier spring with winter fertilization, soil conditioning, and pre-emergent treatments that stop weeds before they start. Because when the snow melts, you don't want to start fixing your lawn. You want to already be winning. Trust Custom Lawn and Landscape, treating your yard now so it looks incredible later. Visit CustomLawn.com to schedule your winter services today.
Got a chance to talk to a bunch of players up front, Kansas football defensively 2026 yesterday, including Marcus Calvin. He did not have a barbell in his high school gym. He talks about that.
He's also really good at basketball.
Much more, yes. Actually, this is just a very brief conversation with Marcus Calvin, but here he is yesterday.
It's like a quick turnaround, like in high school where you go from being a young cat to being an older guy, and everybody going to seek wisdom for you and asking you different questions and like that. But I would say that my previous vets trained me for this position that I'm in now. So I think I've been doing a good job, like handling my role, helping them out and teaching the young guys to be sponges and things like that.
Overall, how do you see, I guess, the attitude of the team? Every year, you come in, you have a different attitude. What's the attitude like on this team?
I feel like these guys legit love to play football, and it shows every day. Sometimes when we banged up, sometimes when it's a quick turnaround, sometimes when it get hard in practice, guys still show up and guys still bring energy and enthusiasm. And that's been shown every practice now. So I think these guys really love football, and I think we really enjoy playing with each other now. I think that when somebody sees somebody else make a play, somebody is legit, genuinely happy for them making that play.
What have you seen kind of growth-wise for yourself? What do you kind of
confidence for sure. I feel like knowing how hard my work ethic is, it has helped me grow confidence in my game, and then. Vocal. I've been a lot more vocal as far as like trying to be the leader to the new guys, and try to teach the ropes to everybody and things like that.
Is there a level of expectation? I mean, you guys are coming off of a couple of seasons where you didn't reach where you wanted to go. Is there an expectation coming into the spring of we know what we want to get accomplished in the fall?
Really, just maximizing our season now, finding ways to get better every day, every game, and trying not to lose to ourselves this year. Trying to create less bad habits and create more good habits and things like that.
That's Marcus Calvin yesterday over at the KU football building. Also going to hear from Michigan State transfer David Santiago, one of many talented guys in the edge room for KU. Here's David.
Just the opportunity. I think it was really attractive. I think what really got me was the pitch that I could like play and be more, I guess, creative and like free in how I played. And yeah, a great opportunity.
How's your first spring as a Jayhawk going?
It's going good. I've really enjoyed it. There's differences that come with it, but yeah, I think it's been going well.
What do you mean by being able to play more creatively and more freely? Like, what does that look like from a practical standpoint?
I think like with the scheme at Michigan State, it was kind of like you had to fit into a glove in order to play like defensive end there. But here, I feel like it's more like, it's 3rd and 5. David, we need you to get a stop. Like, go out and, do it. Like, within the play call, obviously, but just be able to, just play, like, more free,
They've talked about using you at both defensive end spots. What's that been like?
Yeah. Older guy, starting to pick up similarities with defenses that you learn. I learned both rush and stud, and I've been playing both over the spring. And whatever it takes to get on the field and make plays and help the team. Yeah.
What for you is the main difference between those two different positions?
I think rush, playing in the field, it's a lot more coverage. Being able to play in space, cover guys, some quick cats out there. But yeah, and then stud, obviously more getting down and 3 techs and 4 eyes, whatever it may be, more physical down there. Yeah.
Is there an area you're most comfortable with right now, or area we're trying to improve, I guess, with those?
Just both. I think definitely the coverage aspect, playing rush, I need to work on, and stud, getting down in there, taking doubles. Big old offensive lineman. Yeah.
What was the process like for you coming from Michigan State to here?
The portal's crazy. It was, I don't remember what day it was. I think Friday it opened up, and then I was getting a whole bunch of calls, and then Kansas was really pushing it. I got on a flight out here Saturday morning, the next morning. So, it was great. I loved it. I went on another visit, and then I pretty much made my decision like that day, later that day or the day after, and I was coming here. Yeah.
Did you know anything about Kansas or have any preconceived notions about it?
No. You came here? To be honest, no. I don't, especially not Kansas football. I know basketball. I know Michigan State, Kansas kind of basketball schools, but no, to be honest.
Did anything surprise you, I guess, maybe just about KU, Lawrence, the town?
Yeah, I didn't know the stadium. That's pretty impressive, putting it up. And then Gil Sayers, I didn't know he came here. So, yeah, those I'd probably say the biggest. And Lawrence, just Kansas, you'd expect a small town, but it's nice, it's cozy, yeah.
What did you learn at Michigan State? Like, what were some of the big takeaways you had just from your time playing there?
We had a great defensive coordinator, Joe Rossi. He's still there. Just becoming a student of the game. Big Ten, that's big time. and yeah, I became a lot smarter, I'd say, at Michigan State.
Can you talk about the competition and depth in your position group?
Yeah, we got a lot of good players. Right now, Leroy Harris, Alex Bray, myself, Dak Brinkley, Garrett Martin, Adrian Hawley, and then the freshman Hunter Higgins. And we've all been rotating. I think he's had a bit of an injury. But yeah, we're going to play a lot of guys. So, we'll be rotating as defensive ends.
In terms of Coach Dineen, what's something that you've maybe learned from him in the short time that you've been here?
Yeah, I really like him. He's young, so he gets it. But I learned, you just pick different things up from different coaches. That's one thing I have learned, that like you pick one thing up from a different coach and then you pick up another thing and then you just get better as a player overall. I'd say he's taught me a lot about like protecting my chest and my shoulders in pass rush, and that's been really helpful.
What's the most difficult part about making an adjustment and changing schools?
I think moving, to be honest. Yeah, I drove home from Michigan to North Carolina and then drove out here with my mom, and yeah, moving sucks. I hate it, to be honest. So no more. Yeah, but honestly, I'd say moving. Yeah.
That's David Santiago, really talented guy. We've heard a lot about a lot of different guys in this room, Dan, but Santiago, you had a chance to catch up with him alongside other reporters, and could be an impactful player.
Absolutely. I think that he will be an impact player for this year for the Jayhawks. Obviously coming over from Michigan State, talked a little bit about, playing in the Big Ten, about, just different things like that. He also talked about, with Joe Dineen, how good of a coach that he is, right? I mean, you typically wouldn't think maybe a former linebacker would be a good defensive ends coach, but at the same time, like when you play the linebacker position like Joe Dineen played, you're essentially the quarterback of the entire defense, and you know exactly what the defensive ends need to do. And obviously Joe Dineen has been working and researching different things about defensive ends, so using his hands, different things like that. He said that's been really helpful for Joe Dineen. But I think you can see the buy-in from David Santiago. I think you can see that he really likes it here. He talked about it. He said he knew nothing about Kansas coming in. He knew it was a basketball school just like Michigan State, and never really been to the town, didn't know a whole lot about it. Yeah. And he said he just
cozy.
He said cozy was the word that he used. Yeah, I like it too. Lawrence is a cozy little place.
Yes.
So, but yeah, no. Again, I think he's going to be a big time impact player for this Jayhawk squad this upcoming fall.
I think in terms of raw athleticism, next level NFL type body, you look at Leroy Harris and maybe Dak Brinkley, but these are other real Big 12 players that Kansas is breaking out there. And again, Joe Dineen, I don't remember if it was Dineen or Panagos that said yesterday, well, big thing that I've noticed is we got a lot better players now. I think it was Dineen, which we're going to hear from a little bit later. And, Matt Tate peppered him with a lot of questions, and Dineen said, that's a big difference. Is that we have
they're getting better guys.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, hell, when Joe Dineen was there, they were recruiting me.
Oh my!
That goes to tell you anything.
And where'd you end up?
Emporia State.
Emporia State football. Represent. All right. After this, we are going to have our KU Mailbag segment on Twitter at the Kansas Nation, also TikTok and Instagram at the Kansas Nation. You can also find us on Facebook, Kansas Nation. The best coverage of everything, KansasNation.com. Going to have a new episode of Haney and the Hawks coming out in the next week.
That's right.
With one of my favorite guys in all of the land, David Lawrence. We'll be sitting in with Brian Haney. Haney and the Hawks talk about DL's career. They do. They've spent some time on air together as well. So Haney and the Hawks, one of many podcasts that we offer on KansasNation.com. KU Mailbag segment coming up next on Rock Chalk Sports, ESPN Kansas City, KansasNation.com. Listen up, guys. Summer is coming, and there's no better time than right now to ignite your health and feel your best. Whether you're chasing peak performance, trying to reignite intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health Lawrence is your calling. Situated in a plush man cave setting, their services for testosterone replacement therapy, ED, vitamin therapy, and weight loss are sure to give you the boost you need. Make an online appointment today by searching for Game Day Men's Health Lawrence. Step up your game in 2026 with Game Day.
Together, we're elevating our potential, our pride, our traditions, and our dreams. Together, we're opening up a whole new world of possibilities. Elevate your University of Kansas experience with Jayhawk checking from Central Bank. Central Bank and KU, elevating together.
This is SSJ. Winter in Kansas City doesn't mean your lawn takes a break. It means smart homeowners get a head start. Let David and his crew from Custom Lawn and Landscape prepare your yard for a greener, healthier spring with winter fertilization, soil conditioning, and pre-emergent treatments that stop weeds before they start. Because when the snow melts, you don't want to start fixing your lawn. You want to already be winning. Trust Custom Lawn and Landscape, treating your yard now so it looks incredible later. Visit CustomLawn.com to schedule your winter services today.
My name is Sean Kellerman, and I'm alongside Daniel Courtwright as we roll you through Rock Chalk Sports. Our technical director has returned, Elijah Schmidt. Appreciate all he does for us here at Kansas Nation. Also appreciate our partners over at Jocelyn's Jewelry. They have been locally owned for over 40 years. Gary Joslin and his family proud to have earned the trust of 3 generations of customers. They're at 95th and Antioch in front of the big grocery store. A lot of times customers come in, say that they were quoted $400 or more to fix a ring, and Joslin's can do it even better quality for even less price. Less than $200 for that particular ring. Joslin's Jewelry, the jeweler you can recommend to your friends and family. That is their reputation. Check them out. Again, 95th and Antioch. Joslin's. Tell them the guys at Kansas Nation sent you. Dan,
yeah,
what do we got on tap?
KU Mailbag. By the people, for the people, the KU Mailbag, where you send us questions and we try to answer them to the best of our ability.
Ding,
Shout
ding,
out to everybody.
ding, ding. No
dings.
ding.
No dings, unfortunately. But we do have a lot of great questions coming in. Let's start off with a KU question. Berg, he wants to know, who's the most exciting portal player that we want to come to the Hawks? We've done this a lot. I mean, we roll through portal guys, and we did this a little bit in the first segment, but I guess if you could pinpoint one that I think Kansas would really need, or maybe the one that you're just most excited about, maybe that's in the portal right now. Who's on top of your mind?
Why don't you kick it off?
I will.
Okay. You want Terrence Brown?
I think I'd maybe rather have Keanu Dawes than
You want
Terrence
the law
Brown.
firm, Brown and Dawes.
Brown and Dawes, yeah, and Hill. I was going to say, okay, Terrence Hill, I think that's like the number one. You said it. He's like a Bill Self type style of guard. Like, and I was actually talking to Haney off air about Hill. He plays like Devontae. Like he is a really nice player, can shoot the three at a high clip, but really impactful on both ends of the court. Got great driving. I think his upside is tremendous. I'm really excited about Terrence Hill. I think if Kansas can lock him up, that would be massive. And then Anton Bonk. I mean, just because of the fact that he's really the one guy who Kansas is linked to, I think I'd rather have Sham than Bonk, the law firm of Bonk, Sham and Bonk.
At least we still laugh when that joke is said.
Nobody else
does.
I can't imagine anybody else thinks it's funny. I'd rather have Sham than Bonk, but also Bonk I think is again a really nice.
It's like you're choosing what type of massage you want to massage with.
Oh man, I love Bonk. Is such a funny name too. Bonk. It's a good name. That would be a solid name. But yeah, I think Bonk is the one that we're connected to, and Sham, not much connection. But I think if Kansas can get into the running for Sham, I think that Kansas fans would be very, very happy about that, and I would be too.
We haven't talked about the majority of the top 5 guys in the portal, 4 of whom are not committed.
Yeah.
The top not committed guy, and again, this is according to 24/7 Sports, is Milan Momcilovic.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think there's enough money in the world that would get him to come to Kansas just because I don't think that.
Well, I think he entered with a do not contact clause as well, and also he's going to go to the NBA. Like, there's no question about it.
There is a question about it. There is a question about it because of how much money there is in college basketball right now, which is silly to say that. But then you also have John Blackwell from Wisconsin. Again, maybe we haven't heard Kansas in connection with Blackwell, but he's still out there. As is Alan Graves, also a 5-star transfer. He comes from Santa Clara, 6'9", 225, and then Masamba Diop, who I think maybe Gonzaga is in the lead for. He was at Arizona State. Young player, but a lot of size.
Hit a lot of threes.
Juke Harris, who spent some time in the top 3, he has not committed. He's a 6'7" forward.
A lot of
Wake
people think he's going
Forest.
to go to Michigan.
A lot of people just. The bottom line is we don't know with Tyron Stokes what's going to happen.
I know, and I think a lot of people are waiting to we talked to Henry about it. I think once Tyron Stokes commits, I think that there's going to be a few people who either A, have already visited Kansas, or B, have no connection to Kansas. All of a sudden, Kansas is going to be in the running because they want to play with Tyron Stokes.
Yeah.
I think that's the way that this is going to play out.
Well, and again, it positionally affects things. So have to wait and see. But I like Terrence Hill a lot as well from VCU. I haven't seen him as much to know how much to buy into the Devontae comparison. I saw him a little bit. I would think more so like Frank than Devontae. He's got some more size because he's 6'3" than Frank had, but more of a downhill guy. He did shoot 37% from 3 though, so that's something to keep in mind. But I'm going to be talking about Paul McNeil. I don't think that Paul McNeil is going to necessarily win you a championship just by being on the roster, but you surround him with other guys who can make plays. That's a sharpshooter. Shot 43% from 3 at NC State, and you know that we're going to be keeping a close eye on that stat. Cruz Davis, player I really like as well, 6'3" point guard from Hofstra, but appreciate that question.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to Berg. Hey, Brian wants to know, what are the 5 best retirement reversals of all time? You got some?
Oh, here's one off the top. Bear with me on this. Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I wrote that down.
Do you like it?
I do. Well, he retired in 2005, and he came back in 2022. But then I think he retired again. But that was fun. I remember when that happened. I hadn't watched. You and I were both big WWE kids when we were kids.
WWF.
Well, I was a WWE. You
Real
were,
ones know.
Yeah. You're so much older than me. But Stone Cold was very, very beginning of when I started to get into it was when he first retired.
Right. Which is the difference in our ages because I grew up in the best era for wrestling. It really was because it was Generation X. You had the Hardy Boys, you had Edge and Christian, and then obviously you had The Rock and Stone Cold. But Mick Foley was also Dude Love and who am I? Somebody who's listening right now. Mankind, and there was somebody else.
Was he somebody else?
I don't remember.
But Sacco,
and this was slightly after the WCW where you had Macho Man Randy Savage. Yeah. And of course, you had Ric Flair.
Ric Flair is still around, though. He still continues to be around.
Woo!
Woo! Give me 2 claps and a Ric Flair. Woo! That used to be our thing.
New era.
But that's a good one. I was more like the Rey Mysterio, John Cena, Undertaker, and Undertaker obviously has been around
Kane
forever.
Were big.
Yeah, but this is Undertaker before, after the motor. He was a motorcycle guy first, and then he turned into a weird, dark, ominous ghost.
The Ministry of Darkness, I think, is what Undertaker and Kane were. Dude, I could talk WWF for so long.
I love it.
But seriously, the Hardy Boys were so fun, and I have this. I still have
Jeff Hardy's my
I still
favorite.
have a giant tub of wrestling action figures. I'll bring them in one day. And I told you I haven't been able to get Ava into it. But, but I've got tables and ladders and chairs, and I've got dumpsters, and I've got rings, and it's so good, man.
Dude, I had a bunch, and then my parents took them and they dispersed them amongst my little cousins.
Yeah.
So they're all gone.
Right
all
when
mine
you're
are
in the
gone.
middle of playing with them.
I've
also got this little stage where you can. And if somebody out there has this, I need to know. Hit us up on Twitter.
You want it?
At the Kansas Nation. No, it's just this little stage, but there's 10 or 12 action figures that you would get, and they had little things on their foot. And as long as there were batteries in the stage, you would put their foot on the stage, and it would vocalize their sayings.
That's awesome.
So The Rock was one of them. He was like, "Can you smell what The Rock is cooking?" So
That's
good.
Great.
So good.
Anyway, we went on a little side tangent there.
We did.
But yeah, Stone Cold Steve Austin, that was a big one. It felt like Ric Flair did it 20 times. I have a couple of on here.
Out of retirement.
So like
right?
Philip Rivers came out of retirement after 5 years.
Unbelievably
this year.
impressive, man.
That was, man. He did not look good, but he was serviceable.
He was,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, which is good for a
wasn't
45-year-old grandpa who
That's what I'm saying.
been out of the game.
And then he got that insurance back, baby. So good for him. Gronk obviously coming out of retirement from the Patriots to the Buccaneers. Tom Brady got him to do that. Tom Brady never retired, and then Tom Brady just went straight from the Patriots to the Buccaneers. So Michael Jordan's on there. Phil Jackson, by the way, probably the best because of the fact that he went, and I looked this up because I wasn't sure because there was a weird 1 year gap and I wasn't sure of the timelines. Apparently after the 1998 season, Phil Jackson said, "I'm done coaching. I'm never going to coach anywhere again." And then he immediately goes to the Lakers and then wins 5 more titles. So which is that's impressive stuff. That's probably number one. But number one, I think for me, is Satchel Paige. Satchel Paige, legendary Negro League baseball player, pitcher, all around in the Negro Leagues. Then the Kansas City Athletics in 1965 did this weird thing where they pulled Satchel Paige out of retirement as a gimmick. And they're like, hey, we're going to have him play in a game it was the Kansas City Athletics at the time. The Royals had not been established yet. And Satchel Paige was 50-something years old, 56 years old. They threw him in there. He threw 3 innings, only had 1 hit.
Yeah, I remember you telling me this.
Just insane stuff. They had him out there. He had he's all wrinkly, and they had a rocking chair out there. Kind of a fun.
Yeah.
Oh, here's Satchel Paige. What a fun gimmick. You remember when Will Ferrell played for the Dodgers in spring training?
Yeah.
It was almost kind of like that. But Satchel Paige went out there for 3 innings and just completely shut everyone down in an actual game. So that might be number one for me.
That's a good pull. I like it. Yeah, we're probably missing some. Hit us up on
sure
Twitter.
We are.
Guys out of retirement.
I'm not gonna put Brett Favre in there because I hate him. Yeah, but that's the one that everyone thinks about. Retirement reversals.
Well, MJ too.
And MJ, yes, MJ coming back. By the way, I heard that the people in the Wizards just hated him.
I mean,
players
probably at that point had a little bit of an ego due to success
I can
that he
only
had.
imagine.
Yeah.
He still averaged 22 points a game for them, though, which is just insane. Colin, he says, if you could have one mascot come to your wedding besides Big J and Baby J, who would it be?
Ooh.
So I actually have, shout out to David Cavucci. I mentioned him a number of different times on this show. David Cavucci, he put a whole list together of mascots and how much that they cost in order to make an appearance. There's a lot of them. I haven't read the article in its entirety, but in terms of earnings for mascots, Brutus for Ohio State earns $130,000 a year.
So who gets that money?
I would imagine the school.
Yeah.
And I would bet the mascot gets a kickback for it, right? You think?
I mean, it has to. Yeah.
Guess who number 2 is, though?
I don't know.
It's the Minnesota Gopher. $119,000 a year pulled in for the Minnesota Gopher.
Is it even a cute gopher?
Yeah, it's fine. It goes Brutus, then Goldie, the Minnesota Gopher, then Sparty.
I mean, it is pretty cute gopher.
Yeah. But then Tiger and Cubby from Clemson. You also have Cocky from South Carolina. Mr. and Mrs. Wolf from NC State.
The Clemson one is frightening.
Yeah.
The smallest head ever.
That's not a good one. One mascot other than Big J and Baby J, though, to come to your wedding.
Give me the tree.
Stanford. Yeah.
Give me the
that's
tree.
A good one, man.
Just kind of hanging out in the corner, and then all of a sudden comes alive.
Yeah. I would say the Arkansas Monticello Bull Weevil. It's a good mascot. Emporia State actually played them in a bowl game in 2018, the Corsicana Bowl. But we beat them, so I don't have any animosity towards them. It's a good mascot. The Scottsdale Community College Fighting Artichokes is a good one. What about Keggy the Keg from Dartmouth?
Oh, that would maybe be the winner.
I think that's the winner. Keggy the Keg.
That would maybe be the winner.
And then obviously Corky, the Hornet from Emporia State. That's probably the one that I would pick because me and my fiance both went to Emporia State.
I'm looking that up right now.
Corky? He got a facelift, and I don't like it. They just changed it. The old one I think was cuter. But then they just changed the mascot head for some reason, and I don't love it.
It's not terrible. I've seen worse mascots.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Corky the Hornet, shout out.
Elliot
Elliot wants to know, with the current lack of players and the transfer portal wide open and Stokes' decision still up in the air, do you currently believe that KU men's basketball will be better or worse next year in comparison to the last 3 years?
I mean, I'm a homer, so
I mean, yeah.
I'm going to believe.
I believe in Kenny.
And then I saw her face.
I'm a believer. I think I have faith that Kansas is going to get the job done. I also have faith. Right now, I'm sitting at about 70%. That's not a
70%.
stab. That's not a stab at Henry Greenstein. But I'm sitting at 70% that Tyron Stokes does come to Kansas. I'm that high. If that's the case, and again, as of right now, Kansas doesn't have anybody. The starting five would essentially be Tay Kinney, Kohl Rosario, Trent Perry, Davion Atkins, and Luke Barnett. You got 4 freshmen and Kohl Rosario.
I don't know, man. Corbin Allen, he's going to have something to say.
I guess that's true. So, I mean, look, I have faith that Kansas is going to get their guys. That Kansas is good. There's no lack of funds, right? I mean, Kansas just needs to lock up these recruitments. They'll need to lock up these visits that they're going to be on. So, I believe Kansas is going to get their guys. I'm 70% sure that Tyron Stokes is going to come to Kansas. And if that's the case, then yeah, I think that Kansas will be better this year. I think they'll be better than a 4 seed. I think they'll be a 3 or above. And I think they make a run to at least the Elite 8.
Man, this is such a cop-out. I have no idea, though. I have no idea. Sorry, Elliot. I gotta get some guys in.
Oh, come on.
I do think
this is a sports talk radio show. You're supposed to have takes off the cuff.
I will back you up, though. I do think that Stokes is coming to KU. So
okay.
we'll see. Gotta wait and see.
Yeah. Elliot has another one that I will answer because I don't want to get you in trouble. Does KU have another 5-win year? And does Lance get fired if we do go 5-7?
I'm going to say 5+ win year.
I'm going to say, yeah. So it's so tough because there's so many. I think if the defense is as good as I probably think it is, I think Kansas gets 6 wins just because I think they're going to ride on the laurels of the defense. I think this is going to be a defensively minded team. And then if you have a serviceable quarterback with Andy Kotelnicki at the helm, with all of the weird stuff that they do, you don't have to have Tom Brady back there as a quarterback if you have Kotelnicki running the show. So I think that Kansas does get over 6. I think that they go 6 wins. I think the ceiling for me, and this is going to sound low, but I think the ceiling is 8. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. Again, we never know. Does Lance get fired if we go 5-7? Absolutely not. I don't think so. I think that Travis Goff and everybody understands, maybe not the fans, because they want results and they want it now. But I do think that they understand that, hey, this is going to take time. People still don't view Kansas as a football thing. Like, Lance Leipold is one of the primary reasons why we are getting a new facility. Lance Leipold is one of the primary reasons why Kansas football is not the laughingstock of the Big 12 anymore. So I think that you need to give him a little bit more credit. If he goes 5-7, again, it's going to suck. We're going to miss a bowl game. But he doesn't get fired. I think that he's got to have like 3 back-to-back years where Kansas wins 3 or less games in order for him to get fired. That is like where I'm at right now. I think that's fair to say.
Cody says, could you win the Masters if you only played from 100 yards out? Absolutely not. My short game is terrible.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I feel confident that I could get on the green most of the 18 holes.
Yeah.
But I am not a good enough putter to even be in the conversation.
I actually changed this because the original question was, do you think you could win the Masters if you played half of the holes? No chance. Like, that's not even like remotely in the realm of possibility.
What about 6?
But 100 out.
What about 6 holes? What if you only had to play the back 6 holes?
Yeah, but here's the thing. The winning score for the Masters this year was what, 12 under? Yeah, you get 12 under in 6 holes.
That's true. That does make it tricky.
So that's why I was confused by the question. So I changed it to 100 yards out because there's a lot of par 5s on there.
That's not how I read it. Is not 12 under. I guess they would have to do. How would you do that? Strokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just straight.
It would have to be. It would have to be different.
I see.
Different scoring.
Yeah. So if that's the case, if you're just counting,
So how many-
if you're
how many
counting, if
strokes-
you're counting total strokes from the
So
four.
how many strokes did Rory take?
Oh God, I don't even know. I mean, he was 12 under, par 73. So 73 times 4 minus 12
is 146 times 2, which is 292 minus 12, so 280.
If you played half the holes, so if you played 2 rounds, do you think you can go, oh, okay, wait, hold on. So you'd have to shoot. So if you played 2 rounds, you'd have to just get under 280 strokes.
True.
So you'd have to
Yes.
shoot a 160.
If you're doing 36 holes, correct, instead of 72. I had said 6, so I guess I was saying 12. But yeah,
I think if you're going stroke count, I can get over a 160. I think so.
All right.
It's not out of the realm of possibility. I'll win it.
That might be the number.
100 yards out, though, was a little bit different just because I'm good at chipping. Putting is where I fall apart.
I'm terrible at
I
putting.
can get the ball onto the green every time, and then every time I go 2
People
or 3
scoff
putt.
at 3 putts. Man, I love a good 3 putt.
King of 3 putts.
Piper, love this question. Have you tried the new Flamin' Hot Doritos? Also, what are the top 3 Doritos flavors? Yes. And also,
You have.
I have, but the Flamin' Hot Limon are even better than the Flamin' Hot.
Limon.
Limon.
Little lime on it?
Man, we never have just Cool Ranch Doritos at the house. For some reason, we did. I think it was like a buy 4 for. It's ridiculous. Like, everybody knows what I'm talking about. You have to buy 1 bag of chips and it's $6, but if you buy 4, it's $10. It's like, well, I'm going to buy 4. We had Cool Ranch Doritos. And man, I love a good Cool Ranch Dorito. That's in the top 3 for sure. Flamin' Hot Limon is in the top 3. And then, I don't know, but my wife loves the sweet and spicy chili.
I had one. I had a Dorito. I think they were Doritos. Yes, they were Doritos, I believe. No, or were they Ruffles? I can't remember. There's this little Mexican shop kind of by where I live. It's right behind El Mezcal, if you know what I'm talking about, on 23rd Street.
Oh, I know El Mezcal.
And so it's right behind there. It's called La Estrella, I believe is what it's called.
I've heard of it.
So I've been in the bottom, there's a little market, and I think they're like salsa negra. It's like black salsa Doritos.
Really?
And they were so good.
That sounds awesome.
They were delicious.
You should bring some in.
They were
Dude, have
wonderful.
you had the Flamin' Hot Limon, though?
No, I haven't.
Oh
You
my
said
God. I mean, do you like Flamin' Hot Cheetos?
Love them.
Well, yeah. Have you had the Flamin' Hot regular Doritos?
No.
You've got to try them, man.
Okay.
And the Flamin' Hot Limon are even better. They got a little lime kick there at the end.
Are you more of a Dorito guy, or like is your chip of choice? Because like I could go for like just a regular potato chip every now and then.
If I am going
What's
for
best chip?
best chip, just like as is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. That's so tricky because, like, if I'm having chips on my sandwich, which is always a great option, the original Lay's, the saltiness of it. But if I'm going to crush a bag of potato chips, I probably want the cheddar and sour cream Ruffles. I just eat those over and over.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's good. Would you consider Cheez-Its a chip?
Ooh, if so, then I'm probably going with them at 1.
So that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Good choice.
I'm there with Cheez-Its.
I would consider them a baked cheese cracker.
Cole wants to know, what's your favorite road that goes east to west?
Wow, east side to the west side?
Favorite road that goes east
I'd probably
to
say
west?
1st Street.
In Lawrence?
No. Is he talking about in Lawrence?
Oh, no. Just
in
any
general?
road that you've ever traveled on that goes east to west. I would say I-70, but it goes through Columbia, so there's got a little bit of a taint to it.
I'll say Main Street.
Main Street.
I'm going to assume there's a Main Street that goes east to west.
Well, sure.
I don't know.
I would imagine.
I mean,
there's a
you're talking interstates.
Main Street in Carbondale. That goes east-west.
Yes, that's what I meant.
That's a good street.
Main Street, that takes you to the neighborhood playground and the coffee shop and
Carbondale?
Have
you been to Carbondale?
And yeah, the coffee shop, the playground, the convenience store, the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all on Main Street in Carbondale,
I
right?
think so. Is there a coffee shop in town?
There is. Yes.
I've been there. I need to get back. No, there's an ice cream shop on Main Street.
Really?
Yes. There's also the post office. There's the library. The playground. That's a good one. I'm going to say Highway 56 for me.
Okay.
You go south on Iowa, goes to 59, then you take the exit, and then you head towards Overbrook, and it's just a nice drive, pretty drive. It reminds me of home, too. I like Highway 56. 23rd Street. Good one. Just 23rd Street.
Yeah,
here in
23rd
Lawrence.
Street to Clinton.
Of course. You know what I mean? Bob Billings is a nice drive.
Hank with the final question.
Hank. He wants to know, if you could adjust the dimensions of any sports field/court, what sport would it be? I think we've talked about this. Basketball?
Maybe, yeah.
So
just make it a little wider.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Okay, so he's talking dimensions. So I was thinking like, because we've talked about this a lot, and this has actually been brought up quite a few times, not even just with our show, but like throughout the zeitgeist of the sports world, where if you change the 3-point line and make it like a home court advantage, so where every single basketball court has a different, it all has to, like the surface area inside has to equate to the same amount of surface area all over. But you can draw the line however you want from the 3-point line. So you can have like the right side, bring that in, make it like 12 feet, and then the left side, that's like, I can't even do that math, but it's like, you know, be like 30 feet out or whatever. Like, and so like you bring one in, or you can make it like all zigzaggy if you want. I kind of like that idea.
See, baseball is the one sport that, you know, you have different dimensions depending on where you're, which I kind of like. That's good.
Yeah,
the character
it's
of
fun.
baseball.
No, absolutely. I mean,
But no,
it's
we're making it
another thing that we can complain about for the Yankees.
That's
too.
true. That's true. If we're making it lame, the dimension of the court in basketball, just make it a little wider. Guys stepping out of bounds, man. You made the 3-point line further out, so now they got no room over there in the Trey White corner.
And then in the corner, they just have the straight line.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I agree with you on that. I think that's a good idea. I think make football smaller.
Nah.
No?
No, leave that for the gimmicky leagues.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. What about water polo, and they just do it in the ocean?
That'd be fun.
Right?
That would be fun. I'm a big fan of that.
What about esports, but you have to play it, I don't know. How would you change the dimensions for that?
I don't know. I don't know what the current dimensions are for esports.
You have to stand instead. Maybe you have to play it like in a tree.
What are you talking about? Esports.
Esports, but you have to like be in like in a weird location. Change the dimensions.
Oh. Why don't you think on that? That's an example of your mind working. What
are some other ones that need to be like changed?
Why don't you take the break and think about that? We're up against a break here. KU Mailbag segment. Thanks to everybody who's sent in your questions. Always love that segment. Appreciate you guys engaging with the show. After this, though, we're going to go back to the KU football building. We're going to hear from defensive ends coach and former KU All-American Joe Dineen. Rock Chalk Sports, ESPN Kansas City, KansasNation.com.
Hey, Kansas fans, Coach Bill Self here, and you're watching KansasNation.com.
This is SSJ. Winter in Kansas City doesn't mean your lawn takes a break. It means smart homeowners get a head start. Let David and his crew from Custom Lawn and Landscape prepare your yard for a greener, healthier spring with winter fertilization, soil conditioning, and pre-emergent treatments that stop weeds before they start. Because when the snow melts, you don't want to start fixing your lawn. You want to already be winning. Trust Custom Lawn and Landscape, treating your yard now so it looks incredible later. Visit CustomLawn.com to schedule your winter services today.
Listen up, guys. Summer is coming, and there's no better time than right now to ignite your health and feel your best. Whether you're chasing peak performance, trying to reignite intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health Lawrence is your calling. Situated in a plush man cave setting, their services for testosterone replacement therapy, ED, vitamin therapy, and weight loss are sure to give you the boost you need. Make an online appointment today by searching for Game Day Men's Health Lawrence. Step up your game.
APR plus $1,000 customer bonus, or get 0.9% APR on a 2026 Tiguan. Luxury just got a new definition.
Hi there, Gary Joslin with Joslin's Jewelry. I'm not the class ring company. I'm a mom and pop jewelry store for 42 years. We were recently voted the gold medal #1 jewelry store in the greater Kansas City area by Ingram's Magazine. Come see us at Jocelyn's Jewelry, 9529 Antioch. Jocelyn's Jewelry, the jeweler you'll recommend to your friends and family.
Jocelyn's Jewelry for the best that's yet to come.
With Jayhawk checking from Central Bank, Jayhawk fans can carry their pride wherever they go with the official Jayhawk debit card, a simple way to show school spirit every day. Central Bank is proud to support the traditions and communities that bring people together. As the proud community banking partner of the University of Kansas, Central Bank is committed to serving Jayhawk fans with banking options designed for real life, on campus, at work, and everywhere in between. Learn more about Jayhawk checking and the exclusive debit card at jayhawkchecking.com. jayhawkchecking.com, Central Bank, the proud community banking partner of the University of Kansas, member FDIC. We heard from Joe Dineen, the former KU linebacker and current KU defensive ends coach, yesterday. Let's hear Coach Dineen.
How's your position group done during the spring so far?
They've done a good job. Trying to obviously get into the details of the scheme of the defense and challenging them every day to, be impactful players. I think we got a room where we can affect the outcome of the game. And my challenge to them every day is within the scheme, like you got to make plays. And that's kind of what they're being judged on is being assignment correct and being impactful.
David Santiago is new to the room. What did you like about him in the portal and what have you kind of seen from him?
Yeah, I think David in the portal coming out of Michigan State, he just did everything well. He was a good athlete, moved well, had some pass rush ability, strong at the point of attack. When we got here, he's really smart. You don't know that necessarily in the portal. You talk to him a little bit and do the one-day official visit deal, and that's kind of the extent of what you find out about him. But he's a guy that's learning both the rush and the stud, and is being impactful on the field. Again, like that rush ability, that point of attack strength is showing up, and he's been everything that we thought he would be. He's done a really good job.
How much do you try to cultivate that versatility of having guys be able to play the two different positions?
Well, I tell them all the time, man, like the more you can do, the longer you can stay, and it's a lot easier to get on the field if you know both spots. So, there's a challenge there because they are a little bit different. They're similar in a lot of capacities, but they're a little bit different. So, especially for some of the new guys, not understanding, maybe where they're going to fit right away. If you can learn both, your chances of playing and getting impactful playing time goes way up.
How do you compare and contrast the rush and the stud end spots?
I think as you look at it, like on paper, as you look at it, the rush is going to be, a little bit longer, maybe a little bit more athletic. He plays in space. He plays to the field. Has to be able to, move around in the open field, play in coverage and stuff like that. And then the stud is your true boundary defensive end, like tough, set violent edges. That's really the difference. So usually the stud weighs a little bit more. Height isn't as big of a concern, but for that rush spot, you want some length there to impact, get your hands in these throw windows and stuff like that.
How's Leroy Harris?
He's done a good job. I think he picked up right where he left off last season. Again, he's a guy that we've been challenging. We need a lot out of Leroy this year, and I think he's answered the call. Working on some technique things with him. I lose my mind every time he runs in there and doesn't use his hands. But when he does use his hands, he's an effective player, and he does a good job.
Joe, it's probably a pretty simple but basic question, but how important for your position is it to have a specific coach that can just work with you?
I think with what we do systematically and on defense, there's a lot of different things that the defensive ends are asked to do. So because of that, I think having a specific coach is important to dive into the details of that. We coach, I say this all the time, like we coach coverage, we coach pass rush, we coach run fundamentals, and we coach them all over the field. We'll be out in space, we'll be in a 3 technique, we'll be in a 5 technique, we'll be in a 9 technique. There's a lot of different things that we ask our defensive ends to do. And because of that, there's a lot of details that come along with it. So, being able to really dive in and hone in on those details, I think is important.
Can you do as much if in the past, if it was one coach kind of spread out? Can you get into those details as much, or is that the biggest product of it?
you got to divvy your time up. You got to be really good about your time management and stuff like that. You can, and it's doable, but it's a challenge. Especially if you got other stuff pulling at you, it's a challenge. But I think the way that it's divvied up now, I think it's beneficial to what we got going moving forward.
Film on field, where do the details show up most?
It's everywhere. It's through the indie drills. It's in the film. It's in the prep. When these guys come back, you can really like dive into it. And the thing as a position coach is you got to be able to meet them where they're at. So as a room, you kind of coach to the room. But if you can get them in one-on-one situations where you can really dive in and hone in on the stuff that specific player needs to work on, I think that's where the benefit starts to show up. And credit to the guys in the room, they want to come back and get that one-on-one coaching, one-on-one teaching, one-on-one technique work, and I think hopefully it pays off for them in the fall.
Joe, what have you seen from Dak Brinkley?
I think Dak is probably the most improved. We saw Dak last year, man. Like, he is talent-wise, he's there. He's got it. He's the most natural mover. Has a knack with his hands. Really good pass rusher. Physical and strong at the point of attack. The thing that was holding Dak back is every once in a while he'd go out there and have just a crazy brain fart. And my job and the staff's job is to try to get guys like that playing a lot more snaps. And I feel like Dak this spring has really stepped up to the plate. Mentally he's locked in. He's another guy that's learning both. So credit to him on that. And I think he's done a really good job. I think he's going to be really impactful and have a big year for us.
You guys are far enough in the spring now. You've had some battles against the O-line. What do you think of your group?
My group in particular, I think we have a chance to be really good. I think we have a chance to be really good. Even some of those young guys, man, stepping up. I'm talking, Adrian and Garrett, like the techniques that they're working and everything. There's a chance for us to, I think be pretty good. Time will tell, and obviously as we go against some of these offenses and stuff like that, that's going to be the true measure. But I like where we're at. I like the potential that we have, but we got to keep grinding that thing away.
When you were at Purdue, did you know much of Adrian, just being an in-state guy?
Yeah.
What have you kind of seen from him growth-wise this year?
Yeah. So Adrian's taken tremendous strides. When Adrian first got here, I think it was a lot for him. Coming in, mid-year and everything like that. It was a lot for him, and the game is slowing down for him, and you can see it. Adrian's got natural length, he's got size, he's got strength, and he does have natural pass rush ability. But same thing for him, it was learning the scheme of the defense. And I think now he's getting a little bit more comfortable. We still got a little bit of a ways to go, in terms of getting him more comfortable out there. But the strides are there, and he's willing to put the work in too.
Joe, kind of a broad question. It hasn't been that long since you played, but kind of a while. What does it look like now when guys come in, whether they're freshmen or transfers? I mean, are they different physically, mentally, however you want to evaluate them than maybe guys when they came in when you were playing?
I don't know. That's a tough question, because I felt like when I came in, I don't know. They are naturally. They are. I think we're recruiting at probably a higher caliber than we were when I played here, and because of that, you get more talent and everything there. It's so funny though, because as a player, you just don't realize like what's there, and I think without. It's the reality is the players here are now better than they were when I was here, and it correlates to the field, and hopefully in the fall correlates to more wins.
Yeah, I guess that's great. I guess the question more was just the generationally speaking. I mean, the younger players especially, are they getting to college at a place where it's different than you remember? And again, I know you're talking about yourself. It felt like you were kind of ready and all that, but you're seeing it now different than you.
Yeah, I think guys now, like, they come in and the expectation is I'm going to see the field early, and we're recruiting at that level. Like, we don't want to take guys that want to come in and sit the bench. Like, we want guys that are going to come in ready to compete and challenge these guys for playing time. And I don't know if it was always like that, Matt, but now, like, the way that we recruit, going forward with these 27s and last year and in the portal, like, we're taking guys that come in and try to make our roster better. The guys that are here, their job is to not get beat out. The guys that we bring in, their job is to beat those guys out, because competition raises everything.
Sure. For someone like Hunter then, who's going through the spring, like, what do you expect from him, or like what does that process look like for him, kind of taking advantage of the bonus time?
Yeah, no, Hunter's been great. I think the big thing for him, and the big thing obviously coming from high school, is the speed of the game, the physicality of the game, the violence of the game. And like I said, we do a lot with our defensive ends. So there's a lot of different things, techniques that he's got to, master before he gets going. And Hunter's a willing kid. He's going to do that, and he's one of those guys that spends a lot of time extra on meetings, and credit to him, man. Like, he wants to be really good, and I can tell, and I think he will be.
Alex's name keeps coming up too. Where is he compared to last year at this time?
The big challenge for Alex is Alex has always been really smart, really physical, and knowing what he does. Like, you trust him to go out there and do his job. Our challenge to him was, all right, like, you're in the right gap, the scheme of the defense. Now go impact the game. And I think this year he's taken that step, just understanding really offensive scheme, diving into the technique of the pass rush, understanding when to use what. And I think it's paid off for him so far in the spring. Now, obviously, we got to get that done in the fall, but I think with the work that he's, shown to put in, I think he'll be in good shape.
Anything else, Christian? Just one more on that. I mean, you talked about it at the very beginning here, and then you just mentioned it there too. Go make plays.
Yeah.
It sounds as simple as it can be, but are there tricks, techniques? Are there ways that you can trigger these guys to go make that play, even though everything's got to be set in terms of gaps and all that stuff? But
100%.
What do you do to trigger that?
Yeah, I think so. I think that falls on the coach, to be honest with you. I want to give them every tip, every tool, every key, that if they can go out there and they can recognize, all right, this tackle looks like this, the running back's in this position, the tight end's in this position, trying to break the game down from a formational deal, from a visual key deal, and then understanding like where they can take risks and where they can't. There's certain things, there's certain calls where like we can fire off the ball, and if we get to the level of the quarterback, like, we're not going to hurt the scheme of the defense. There's certain calls where we got to get down tight and spill everything back out. So understanding the risk reward of certain calls, but understanding and also diving into, what the offense is doing to you systematically and schematically.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
That's Joe Dineen Jr., a guy who, when he was a player, interacted with a lot of the same media members that he's interacting with there. Of course, Brian Haney, David Lawrence, Matt Tate, who asked Coach Dineen a lot of questions, but a guy who knows ball, coached linebackers, and really excited about his defensive ends room.
Yeah, 100%. And, I talked about it in kind of the open about how a linebacker coaching the defensive ends, to kind of a layman doesn't make a lot of sense. But when you were the, starting linebacker, when you were an All-American, where you were essentially the quarterback of the defense, you had to know what all these guys were doing at all times. And also we saw Joe Dineen come off the edge a few times as well and get into the backfield. So he knows what he's talking about. And, I think adding him to this coaching staff has been just nothing short of exceptional. I think that with his knowledge of the game, with his love of Kansas, obviously he played at Lawrence Free State, came to Kansas, spent a little bit of time at Purdue as a coach, and then winds up coming back here to Kansas. I think that's just such an asset to have there, not only on the coaching aspect of things, but also just in terms of having guys buy in, right? You see a guy who has so much love for this university during a time when there was nothing to really cheer for. And then him being able to come back and say, yeah, I love this place. I mean, that'll bleed into the players, right? They're going to understand that and be like, okay, well, this guy really likes it here. The buy-in, I think, is going to be incredible. And then when you look at the defensive end room, right, with Leroy Harris, Alex Bray on the other side, you got Dak Brinkley, you got David Santiago, you got a number of different guys on those edges who I think are going to be major impact players for this season. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And then also when you look at it, the two sides, they're technically different positions, right? You have more of you have a rush defensive end, and then you have a stud defensive end. The rush defensive end more so has to be quicker on their feet, and also they get into coverage more often, right? We heard David Santiago talk about that as well, and David Santiago said that was one of the biggest things that he's been trying to work on is kind of his coverage. We've seen guys go out into coverage before on the defensive end side of things, cover the flats, right? So I think when you look at a guy like Joe Dineen, I think he can teach that better as a guy who wasn't a traditional pass defender, who had to be a pass defender at times. That's going to be an easy thing to teach a lot of these defensive ends.
Yeah, and he brings a lot of pride in the school. Dak Brinkley spoke on that. We're going to hear from Dak as well as Blake Harold on tomorrow's Rock Chalk Sports. Also going to hear from some other Jayhawks as the week rolls on. Final week of spring football for Kansas in 2026. After this, though, we're talking KU baseball. How hot have they been? That's coming up next. ESPN Kansas City, kansasnation.com.
Hello, it's Mark Whitlow from Office Products Alliance. OPA is not just your local office products connection. We have expanded our offerings to network cabling installation, security cameras, door access, and IT services. We all need to keep pace with new technologies. You can trust a Kansas City company that has been your partner for 32 years. Check us out at opakc.com. Supporting local businesses and our community is more important than ever.
Percent APR plus $1,000 customer bonus, or get 0.9% APR on a 2026 Tiguan. Luxury just got a new definition.
Haney and the Hawks is presented by Jefferson's with 2 Lawrence locations. Home of the best wings in town. 21 signature sauces. You got to check them out. But if wings aren't your thing, how about a burger? They hand patty their certified Angus beef every single day. Also hand bread their tenders. They make their ranch in-house. There is truly something for everybody at Jefferson's. Go see my buddy Brandon Graham and the entire crew at Jefferson's, either on Mass or Wakarusa in Lawrence, Kansas.
Hi there, Gary Joslin with Joslin's Jewelry. I'm not the class ring company. I'm a mom and pop jewelry store for 42 years. We were recently voted the gold medal #1 jewelry store in the greater Kansas City area by Ingram's Magazine. Come see us at Joslin's Jewelry, 9529 Antioch. Joslin's Jewelry, the jeweler you'll recommend to your friends and family.
Joslin's Jewelry for the best that's yet to come.
This is SSJ. Winter in Kansas City doesn't mean your lawn takes a break. It means smart homeowners get a head start. Let David and his crew from Custom Lawn and Landscape prepare your yard for a greener, healthier spring with winter fertilization, soil conditioning, and pre-emergent treatments that stop weeds before they start. Because when the snow melts, you don't want to start fixing your lawn. You want to already be winning. Trust Custom Lawn and Landscape, treating your yard now so it looks incredible later. Visit CustomLawn.com to schedule your winter services today.
KU baseball has been on fire. They've won 11 straight games. Going to tell you all about them. And this baseball update is brought to you by our friends over at Custom Lawn and Landscape. Do not settle for a patchy, weedy yard. Grab the lush, healthy lawn you deserve. Call Custom Lawn today or visit CustomLawn.com to claim your free application and get started. KU baseball has won 11 straight games. Dan, they did it again last night, and this is the 4th consecutive game that they've done better on the mound than at the bat, but still some fireworks, particularly from Tyson LeBlanc.
Yeah, that's what you want to see, right, out of KU baseball, is the fact that you had a lot of offensive firepower, but the pitching staff was giving up a lot of runs as well. Now the pitching staff is playing really good baseball at the right time when the offense, I'm not going to say the offense is getting stagnant, but they're just not putting up 14, 15 runs like they used to, right? Kansas put up 5 runs. They wind up beating Wichita State 5-2. Tyson LeBlanc hit 2 homers in this one. He has 14 home runs on the season. Josh Dykoff, he brought in the other 2 runs with an RBI single in the 8th inning and a homer to give Kansas the insurance run. Madden Seidel, Toby Scheidt, Ryan Ritter, and Bodie Ray, they all combined to throw 7 scoreless innings in relief. Really, really impressive stuff by those guys. Madden Seidel was given the win. He had 4 innings pitched, only gave up 1 run with 4 strikeouts. Bodie Ray, by the way, got the save. He had 1 inning pitched, only giving up 1 run and a strikeout. So that's what you want to see out of the pitching staff. Obviously, limiting those runs, and that's honestly a score that I'm more comfortable with, right? Whenever Kansas was winning those games 14-12 or 11-9 or whatever it may be, you got a little nervous and you started to think, well, the offense cannot be this sustainable, and you need to have more coming from the pitching side of things. And you've certainly gotten that over the last couple of games. And this is, a prime example of that, where you had 4 pitchers come in and just completely shut out in those 7 innings.
Bodie Ray, we've talked about his versatility, but he's become a big story on this season for Kansas because he's done it starting, he's done it relieving. Now, Kansas, they have a lot of time left on this schedule, as Henry was talking about a little bit earlier. Still 6 weeks away from regional. Let's see what they've got upcoming. Really tough stretch coming up, as Kansas has back-to-back Big 12 series on the road at Oklahoma State. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Oklahoma State's going to be a hungry team. And then you got Nebraska, a team that's often in the top 25. They were in the top 25 when Kansas beat them in Lincoln. Then at K-State for the Dillon Sunflower Showdown. Both Oklahoma State and K-State are teams kind of hovering around 500 in the conference. And as we've seen, there's not a lot that separates a team who's gone 12-3 for a team that's 7-8, like Oklahoma State and K-State. There's something to be said for winning, but from a talent standpoint, I mean, these teams are going to be very similar to Kansas. Then KU has at Wichita State. Remaining conference series, in addition to the back-to-back home series, or road series rather, Oklahoma State and K-State, Kansas has Arizona at home, West Virginia at home, and then they're at BYU. So 5 remaining Big 12 series for Kansas. 3 of them are on the road, and then some difficult midweek games as well. Kansas is going to have to kind of take their show on the road. They've had some good vibes at Hoagland Ballpark. Their last 2 series have been sweeps, UCF and Utah, and they did it different ways, but they were both at home. Hopefully they can bring that electric atmosphere on the road.
Yeah, and Utah, they weren't a great program when they came in, right? You were looking at, after the Utah stretch, like I said, Kansas won 14-12, then 14-9, then 13-9. You had Nebraska coming up, and then you had number 12 UCF coming into town, and you're thinking, man, that's a really, really tough stretch. All of a sudden, Kansas goes out and they beat Nebraska in Lincoln 5-3. UCF, they sweep that one, and then they get Wichita State. Now you got to go down to Stillwater. It's going to be relatively tough. But when you look at the overall statistics, conference statistics for Kansas baseball, Kansas, nothing is really. I mean, they just don't poke out at you. Like, they're not super good at one thing or another. They're 5th right now in batting average in the Big 12, which is top 5, which is still really good. But again, 323 batting average. In terms of pitching, Kansas is 4th in terms of ERA with a 6.01. So again, they're near the top of the Big 12, but I think it's just in terms of being able to close out the games is really where the impressiveness comes from. Kansas has been so good in come from behind victories, as we know. It feels, what are they at? 17 come from behind victories on the season. Now, they didn't have to come from behind against Wichita State, but still, 17 come from behind victories is nothing short of incredible. And right now, they're on the hottest win streak that they've had since 1994.
11 straight wins. The next best win streak in Big 12 play is BYU, who's won 5 straight. But Kansas is atop the conference at 12-3. West Virginia and UCF are both 10-5. Of course, UCF reeling now after losing 3 straight to KU. 27-10 record, that looks pretty good. If KU keeps this up, they're going to have a decent chance at hosting the regionals. Long way to go, though. Like I said, still 5 weekends of regular season play. Be excited to see what the guys do in Stillwater this weekend. Also, KU softball in action right now, hosting Mizzou over at Roach Ballpark. KU, Mizzou, the Storage Mart Border Showdown. Entering that, Kansas is 29-12, 10-5 in Big 12 play. KU is in 3rd in the Big 12 Conference. Jennifer McFallis has done an amazing job, and this Kansas team has got a great freshman class. Of course, Blakely Barber in the circle, and you've got Ella Boyer at the dish. It's been a lot of fun tracking them as well. You can track that game going on right now on ESPN+. You can watch it or track it, as I said, on the KU softball account on Twitter. After this, KU will take on UCF for 3 over the weekend in Orlando. So good luck in the border war to the KU softball team. Also, Dan, Jayhawks in the NBA. Well represented are the Jayhawks in the 2026 NBA playoffs. A couple games last night, but some names to know.
Yeah, Andrew Wiggins obviously played for the Miami Heat. They wind up losing yesterday to the Charlotte Hornets. I know. By the way, Con Knippel, side note, Con Knippel got benched for the entirety of overtime. Not a great showing for him. The Hornets did wind up winning, but Con Knippel led the league. But yeah, Andrew Wiggins for the Miami Heat. Christian Brown obviously, for the Denver Nuggets, Joel Embiid for the 76ers, who play tonight, actually, in a play-in game. Kelly Oubre also for the 76ers. Also have Grady Dick, who maybe has not had the most successful year this year for the Toronto Raptors. Hopefully he can get back on track. He's also in the playoffs. And then you have Kevin McCullough for the New York Knicks. Kevin McCullough, kind of that two-way guy, but we've seen him a little bit for the New York Knicks this year, and he's had a couple of really nice showings for the New York Knicks. So hopefully Kevin McCullough can get up to that next level and hopefully be sort of a role player, more of an impact guy for the New York Knicks. But yeah, well represented for the NBA playoffs, obviously highlighted by a couple of major names that you know. Andrew Wiggins now out of the playoffs, but Joel Embiid is probably that number one guy.
We're not going to get out of here without telling you about Game Day Men's Health Lawrence. Mitch Bales and his team will get you back in the game. The spring and summer months are upon us. Go give them a visit. West Lawrence, Game Day Men's Health Lawrence. Your first visit's completely complimentary. It's a comfortable setting. You go in, they check your levels, make sure that you're feeling your best. Again, most important time of the year to be feeling so. You got any issues, low T, low energy, whatever it might be, Mitch Bales and his team can help you. Game Day Men's Health Lawrence. That's going to do it for today. Big shout out to Elijah Schmidt back behind the cameras today. For Dan Courtwright, Sean Kellerman saying join us tomorrow for the best coverage of all things KU on Rock Chalk Sports, ESPN Kansas City. Listen up, guys. Summer is coming, and there's no better time than right now to ignite your health and feel your best. Whether you're chasing peak performance, trying to reignite intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health Lawrence is your calling. Situated in a plush man cave setting, their services for testosterone replacement therapy, ED, vitamin therapy, and weight loss are sure to give you the boost you need. Make an online appointment today by searching for Game Day Men's Health Lawrence. Step up your game in 2026 with Game Day.
Together, we're elevating our potential, our pride, our traditions, and our dreams. Together, we're opening up a whole new world of possibilities. Elevate your University of Kansas experience with Jayhawk checking from Central Bank. Central Bank and KU, elevating together.
Jayhawk fans, if you haven't started to follow Kansas Nation on social, now is the time. Facebook, Instagram, X, it's Kansas Nation, and online at kansasnation.com for the latest news and information on your Kansas Jayhawks. Interviews, news conferences, daily and weekly shows, podcasts. Find it all at Kansas Nation and kansasnation.com.